standard.
You said it
And
correctly.
I think that's
it's
why
feels.
people are so
it's
upset about
100% feels. It's not based on the substance of the conduct alleged. And if you like,
Of
you're sitting
course
here.
it is.
That's what I said.
It's all So it's all based on feels. The double standard.
Okay, I got a question for you. Okay, it's all feels. It's all feels. So I got a question for you, feels wise. Okay, since it's all feels, how do you feel it would happen if, I don't know, a BLM activist got 22 years in prison because he orchestrated a protest that turned violent, and then throughout the trial, America learned that the FBI had informants that were privy to the defense lawyer's case, were still embedded with the family at prayer meetings and were possibly fishing their information. How do you think, since it's all feels, how would that, how do you think, do you think there might be a double standard?
I'll answer that. So look at that shiftiness and dishonest. On the one hand,
that was dishonest?
So your comparison, right? You're trying to make an apples to apples comparison of Black Lives Matter if they engage in the same conduct and they plan to protest that just. No. What you're doing?
It's a fucking thought experiment, you dipshit.
Hang on. No.
Answer it.
What's this?
George Floyd wasn't all of these people's cousin, right? Like.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 weeks off to episode 24 of Kick or Keep. Today, we brought together 8 wonderful contestants that will be going head-to-head in an elimination-style debate show where you, the audience, gets to decide who we kick and who we keep. The rules of the show are very simple. We'll throw out a topic. We'll give you 25 minutes to debate amongst yourself. The contestant... Oh, let me say this. After the round ends, we put a poll in chat. The contestant with the highest amount of votes gets to decide who we kick and who we keep between the 2 lowest voted contestants. So you don't want to be one of those 2 bottom, motherfuckers. That's all I'm going to say. Other than that, there's no other rules. It's simple, just like I said. Don't talk over somebody, and if you want to say something, don't fucking autistically wait 25 minutes and be like, nobody fucking pointed their finger at me. Don't do that, it's French. Okay, other than that, I'm your host, okay, Corantos, that's Qorantos. Joining me is my co-host, Liz Steve. You want to say hi?
Hi, what's up?
Good job. I'm impressed. 3 weeks and you're not rusty. Anyways, let's get on with the intros. Top left. You look like that guy. You look like that guy.
Yeah, I am that guy.
No. It's the other guy. I forgot his name. He was some Irish dude. The guy,
Mike Vrabel.
The dog, the one that made his dog do the Nazi salute. I forgot his name.
Count Dankula.
Yeah, you look like that motherfucker. But
yeah, I think I'm more handsome than that. That's kind of racist, but whatever. So my name's.
I want to second that. Yeah, the counterpoint is far more handsome than Count Dankula. What a horrible comparison, Corantos.
Thank you. Anyways,
unbelievably blind.
So my name is Cotter. I run a channel named Counterpoints, also a channel named Counterfire. Counterfire is where I post all the political stuff. Counterpoints 40K is where I post all the Warhammer stuff. If you're into Warhammer, science fiction, political, philosophy, nerd shit, then come check it out because we're doing pretty good. We're about to break 60,000 subs.
Okay, that's a W. I might have to start watching that shit. To the right, I don't want to be racist, man. I'm not gonna do that. Dylan Burns, please introduce yourself, please.
Wait, how are you gonna be racist towards them?
I was curious. I was gonna ask, but
Yeah, they're white.
Also, wait, you're Corantos. Why would you say I don't want to be racist? What happened?
I'm feeling sick today. I don't know. I'm a changed man. Let me be changed for just one fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, Dylan, please go ahead.
Oh, look at that. See, guys, this is why we project power, okay, across the world. All those aircraft carriers now float near the sky.
Yeah, I'm singing
a different tune, okay?
Listen. Stop baiting me to say some stupid shit, because I will. You know what I mean? I'll bite the fucking...
Now that he's in striking distance, he's moderated his position quite a bit. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. My name's Dylan Burns. I'm a Twitch streamer and war journalist. I spend most of my time covering the war in Ukraine, but also other foreign affairs issues as well. If you could keep an eye out for a documentary I'm releasing in the near future called The Dangerous World of Artillerymen, I'd appreciate it.
All right, there we go. Thank you for the intro. To the right of Dylan and above Pisco, we got Fabian. Liberty Scott, please introduce yourself.
Hey, Corantos, you can be as racist as you want to me. You know, black guy with a mask on, you all look the same to me. You know, the mask. I don't mean the skin color or anything. Yeah, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. That's find me Fabian Liberty everywhere if you want to discuss philosophy or debates or things of that. In that nature, I am kind of the final boss of libertarian philosophy taken to its extreme. And so, you know, if you're a right-winger questioning, come check me out. And if you're a left-winger, I'll probably fuck you up.
Oh, shit. Okay, thank you for the intro. below Mr. Warhammer 40K and diagonal to Lil Steve, we got. Hold on. You look like Hunter Biden, bro. We got good logic, man. How are you? Please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hunter Biden? Really? Really? You confused me with Hunter Biden?
Yes.
My name is Joe Neerman. I'm a New York attorney, New York litigator with a YouTube channel called Good Logic. I live stream nightly from 10 to midnight Eastern time. And I tend to cover law, politics, and philosophy. So that's basically what I do. I try to figure out why it is that our world is as screwed up as it is, and I don't really think it's really the left side or the right side. But I think that it's really a concerted effort from those who have power against those of us who don't, primarily. But that being said, people tend to associate me with being a little bit more right-leaning than left-leaning. And I've had my fair share of enjoyment debating with Pisco and Destiny, and I'm really looking forward to banging heads here. And really for the entertainment of it more than anything, and to maybe learn something. So there you
go. Great introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you. To the right of Good Logic and below Lil Steve, we got, Loner. Yeah, we're already acquainted, you know what I mean? So, but like, to those that may not know, please go ahead and introduce yourself to them, please. Thank you. On mute. There we go. Okay.
Hey, I'm Lonerbox. I'm live stream on YouTube and I make video essays sometimes. I'm the representative from the United Kingdom, Guardians of the Sea. Inshallah, these vessels will be granted safe passage. I love free maritime trade. Hate Houthis. Simple as.
See, I was gonna say shout out to the Houthis, but like sometimes I go to the UAE, you know what I mean? So that's not a good business move on my end. I'm not gonna do that just to play it safe. But to the right of Loner Bucks and below Dylan, diagonal to Fabian, and to the left of Pisco, I'd like to stretch these intros because hopefully the timer's running by now. Let's see. We got Lauren. Thank you.
Lauren, I am just a streamer and I'm on YouTube. I do mostly interviews. And yeah, and I also have an interest in the law and math.
Okay. Thank you for that intro. To the right of Lauren, we've got Pisco. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Karantas. It's a pleasure to be on again. Really stoked to be discussing these issues. I'm Pisco. I'm a lawyer, also based out of New York. Been talking about the 2020 election and January 6th for a while now, and so really excited to discuss it a little further.
Great. It's great to have you back on. Hopefully it doesn't end the way it did last time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always good to have you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't hold it against you or the showrunners.
Thank you. It's like I don't know who was pulling him in. It was a mess. Anyways, last but definitely not least, we got Radical Coder. Please introduce yourself. Take your time.
Hey, I'm Radical Coder, or Ryan. I've been watching all these people for a long time, so this is super surreal. I teach math and computer science and stuff like that, and sometimes I argue with people online, and that's what I'll be doing tonight about this, so sounds fun.
I think I may be allergic to my mask. That's why. I'm not sick. I'm allergic to some shit. Anyways, Steve, I told you my internet is acting up, so listen. You got the questions. You take it from here. Round one has started, ladies and gentlemen.
What is that? Is that supposed to mean I'm reading the questions off?
Okay, I don't know why you're acting fucking retarded. Like, you're fucking 40, you've been doing this half your life. I sent you the questions. Pick the ones that you like.
What the
start off with them.
My God. I'm busy covering breaking news on Jeffrey Epstein and all my
nice
Democrat
the guy
friends,
who's been dead for 5 years. Congratulations.
Oh my God. Look, you can kill people for fucking Muhammad. That dude's been dead for over 1,000 years, okay? What the fuck do you want me to say? Okay. Wow. Okay. Crazy question for the first one here. Ready? Crazy question, guys. Here we go.
Wait, stop. Before you do anything stupid, I literally sent you like fucking 20 questions.
Yeah, I see the first one. I'm ready to read number one.
First of all, it's only fucking numbered number one. It's not actually like, start with it just because it's number one. That's first of all. Second of all, you've been fucking covering this for like way longer than I have.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good question. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just making you feel. Yeah, you're okay. It's all right. Take a deep breath. You okay?
Listen, don't take advantage of my
He's
fucking
got that fucking face diaper on.
My God, yeah.
Okay,
Listen.
Who said that? Fabian, you're on my dick. I think it was you. You're on my dick. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, your mask's on a little too tight. Okay, take a deep breath as much as you can. All right.
It's gonna be okay.
Number 1. Was January 6th an insurrection or a riot, and why?
January 6th
Yes.
was obviously an insurrection by every definition of that word. I'm happy to discuss it further, but if you look at the purpose of what that insurrection was for, it was to stop the transfer of power of the rightfully elected presidency of Joe Biden. We understand exactly the history and usage of the term insurrection, and that it wasn't meant to apply only to these like overwhelming coups that occur. If you look to history, to the Whiskey Rebellion, and to even the Civil War, which started basically based on the fact that the Southern states did not accept the transfer of power to Abraham Lincoln, and the efforts to secede from the Union from there started basically for the same reason, a lack of content of the elections, of the results of a fair and free election. And so there should be no question here that January 6th was an insurrection. Anyone who wants to die on that hill.
Yeah. What's your definition?
Yeah.
What's your
I was
fucking
gonna ask
definition?
that. I was going to
So-
ask
Yeah.
that because I actually looked up the definition of insurrection, and you type in definition of insurrection and you scroll down, and a comparable question is, what is the difference between rebellion and insurrection? And it gives the distinction.
sedition, yeah.
And it says an insurrection is an armed rebellion. So were there guns that were used at January 6th by the protesters, Pisco?
The
To your
definition
knowledge?
of insurrection does not depend on gun ownership. Do you agree with that, Lauren?
Well, so the definition is a
Wait,
violent.
can you answer that question? Do you agree? Does the definition of insurrection depend on the possession of guns?
You
yes
staked your
or
claim.
no?
Give a positive
Wait.
definition. Don't grill people on
Well,
their
I'm happy to give the
definitions.
positive. I'm passive to give the
Give your
positive
definition first.
Hang on. I'll give the positive definition, and then Lauren will answer that question. The positive
Okay,
definition.
yes.
Hang on a second. I'm going to answer the question. The positive definition I'm using is from the Colorado Trial Court, which is as used
Which
in
one?
Section 3.
They gave like 5.
Colorado-
And they didn't define it.
No. The Colorado Trial Court gave a definition. Do you disagree with that, Fabian?
They gave multiple definitions.
Did you read the Colorado Trial Court opinion? Yes or no?
When it came out, and I mean, I'm not the lawyer.
You read
here,
the trial?
so-
Okay, so do you know or do you
so-
not know whether they used 5 definitions or 1 definition?
Okay,
There are
it could have
multiple
been
definitions.
4
Do
definitions.
you know or not know, Fabian?
Pisco, spit it out. Let's go.
Okay, so then
Pisco,
don't
you're
don't
trying
speak
to
up. Don't
subvert
speak up if
instead
you
of-
don't know. Fabian, don't speak up if you don't know. You don't know.
Did
The Colorado Trial-
they give multiple definitions?
You don't know.
Fabian, let
You
him get
don't
it
know.
out so we can
The-
actually move someplace.
The Colorado Trial Court did land on a definition. They did. It's a public use of force or threat of force by a group of people to hinder or prevent execution of the Constitution of the United States.
The Colorado Court embarrassed itself.
That's the Colorado Trial Court. The question for Lauren is, hang on. The question for Lauren is, she's not going to go away from it. Do you think that the definition of insurrection requires the possession of guns? Yes or no?
Thank you for asking the question. Now let me answer it fully without interrupting me. So, according to the Colorado trial court definition, even when you look it up, they admit it's a loosely defined approach to an insurrection. So there are many, many people who could disagree with the Colorado court and still
What was my
be
question,
correct in
Lauren?
their legal analysis. So the way that I see that it's defined, it seems to be distinctly different from rebellion by the use of
Lauren,
armed
what was my
forces.
question?
I asked you to let me finish. So your question is about whether or not rebellion requires the use of
No,
arms.
insurrection.
Insurrection requires the use of arms.
Guns.
So according to this, I said arms. And are you specifically
You
saying
said guns.
So like it can't be Mavlov cocktails or like tanks or anything.
Hang on a
like
second.
that?
I
think
said
you could use
you said
any
you said they
weapon.
didn't have guns, and I asked whether the definition of insurrection requires guns.
Well,
They didn't use any weapons. Did any of the protesters?
Does it
use
require
weapons?
guns? Yes or no? Will you answer that question?
I
Does it
would say
require
it
guns?
requires weapons.
Where
yeah.
point to one single definition
just
where
did.
the point to a single definition where the use of guns or the possession of guns is a required element of that definition. Can you
I
cite a
just
single
did.
definition?
Yeah, I just did.
I would like to interject by saying that the rioters did have zip ties, body armor, clubs, flags.
When did they use
took weapons
that?
from the
Now you're
cops.
gaslighting.
When
Now
did they
you're
use
gaslighting.
that?
When did they
Breaking
use
windows
the zip
with
ties and the body armor? Why the
Right.
fuck are they bringing zip ties and body armor to the state
No, they
capitol? Who were they going to
didn't
zip
Body armor's
tie?
not a fucking weapon.
They did.
Stop.
We have
Body armor's
tons
not a
of-
fucking
We
weapon.
have tons. We have
Yeah, what
tons
were
and
they
tons
going
of
to use the
footage
zip
on-
ties
Wait,
for?
We have tons
Wow.
and tons of footage online of these rioters using poles to hit police officers, of them
That's-
using whatever they
yeah.
can get their hands on as a weapon. But I don't necessarily understand why that would even necessarily need to be an element. When we look at other countries, if a giant mob storms like the Capitol building and says, we are now the government, or attempts to stop the government from functioning, we call it insurrections there.
How many criminal convictions?
For example, if you talk about
how many criminal convictions?
In Ukraine,
criminal convictions are not required. Wait, criminal convictions are not required either. Logic that's a bad thing to bring up, because as you're aware, in the Civil Rights War, in the Civil War, there were millions of people who were involved in the Civil War, and the vast majority of insurrectionists in the Civil War were not charged with a crime. Agree or no?
They don't have to be charged.
Do you agree with that? Okay, so then criminal charges are not relevant.
No, stop.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, stop trying to overtalk me. You claimed
they were
that
pardoned.
I was. You claimed that I was introducing some false flag or something that's irrelevant, and you try to prove that by bringing up something that is a known as an established rebellion, to say that because people were in charge there, that's how we know that just because we failed to convict anybody of an insurrection, that you have carte blanche to just label January 6th an insurrection, despite the fact that we saw that this DOJ
are criminal charges required? Yes or no? Just answer the question.
Stop talking for a second. Stop talking for a second. You don't.
You and Lauren will not answer the question.
I will answer this question, but you don't win an argument just trying to overtalk people. Okay, it's childish.
You won't answer.
Let me finish. I will. You're still doing it. You're still doing it. You're still doing. Stop. Okay. So, you can't bring an analogy from the Civil War, which was a declared revolution, and saying we're done with this country, to January 6th, where you're trying to say, is this an insurrection or not? Now, at the end of the day, we know that this is a DOJ which was trying to throw the book at every single person who was anywhere in the vicinity, so much so that now they're even trying to charge people, and they announced they're going to be looking into people who didn't even go into the building. They try, and they threw out the most harshest, strictest.
Are charges required for insurrection? Yes or no?
What does that mean? Are they required?
You brought up the evidence that no one was charged for insurrection.
Wait.
Will you answer it?
Earlier.
Our DOJ knows it wasn't an insurrection. If our DOJ thought it was an insurrection like you do, Pisco,
you interrupted me saying that you're trying to introduce the legal language of insurrection. Wait, no. You introduced the legal language of insurrection in order to counter me when I was saying, when we talk about other countries, we see giant crowds storming Capitol buildings saying, we're going to stop this government. The laws will not be passed. We will not allow it. We call it insurrection there. Everybody says that when it comes to Ukraine in 2014. Everybody says that when it comes to other countries. Why does it not apply to us?
Why did you bring up charges? Why are you dodging logic? Does it require charges?
I can answer that.
Will any of these people answer a question? Can we make them answer a question? Does it require charges? Yes or no? You made a claim.
What does that mean? An insurrection?
Well, you said that in
All right, wait, real quick. Okay, real quick. Here's what we're gonna do, okay? Here's what we're gonna do, okay? When we're asking a question, here's how we're gonna run this. When somebody says something, answer this question, or even if they say like answer it yes or no, you have to give an immediate answer, but then you are going to be allowed time afterwards to explain the answer, okay? So somebody says, do you need this for it to be some bullshit? You have to say yes or no, or in as many words, like very quickly say it, and then afterwards you can elaborate so that people don't get like railroaded, but it can't be a bunch of rambling, okay? So
there's two questions on the floor. One is, are guns required for an insurrection as a definitional matter? And the other is, are charges required as a definitional matter? We don't have an answer on either of those yet, and I'd like answers to both.
I answered it. You posed the first question to me. It was whether or not weapons or arms are required.
Guns. I'm talking about guns.
Why specifically guns? Okay,
because
fine.
you said guns.
Then no.
Okay, so then we can put that aside.
I did not say guns. I said any weapons. The protesters didn't use any weapons in order to get into the Capitol. So, however, there is a distinction between.
Wait, is your position they didn't use weapons? Is it your position that is your position that Jansons did not use weapons?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I have a question? Does
Jansons have weapons?
Whoa.
They use bats and they use poles to hit people. And
those weapons
and windows. They were smashing in windows or something. Like there was.
They had airsoft.
I've got a question. If you steal a riot shield from a cop and use it as a weapon, does that count as a weapon to you, Lauren?
You have to ask yourself.
Or taser.
Yes or no?
Whoa,
yes,
of course. Yeah. Okay.
Baseball bat.
As far as I know, the first breach. I was finished asking my line of questions, bro. Come on.
There's always to elaborate and not be interrupted when we were in. I try to give I try to follow your instructions explicitly. I said yes, and then I wanted to elaborate, and I got immediately cut off. So there is a distinction between insurrection and rebellion. The distinction between insurrection and rebellion is that insurrection requires a use of arms. So that answers your question, Pisco.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask. And Lauren, I wanted to ask.
Did they have arms or not on January 6th? Did they or not?
Some like for instance,
Is the answer yes?
They did not use arms on January 6th. No.
Okay, so it's a bat and arm when used against police officers?
Okay. If
I can tell you,
this is so, let me interject here from him. I mean, hopefully we can bring a little bit of. Hold on. Hopefully we can. Hold on, just for a second.
Okay.
So maybe Pisco, if you can calm down, and if everybody can answer your questions whilst you calm the fuck down, right? I think there's a little bit of a problem here. A couple of things.
Yes, and one quick problem is Radical Coder. I think you're using the wrong microphone. Everybody keeps saying that. Okay.
Yeah, I think it should be fixed now.
You sound much better.
Go
better. Yeah.
So, and I think Dylan inadvertently discovered this, and it kind of got trammeled over because everyone was like yelling about questions, which is that there is a colloquial understanding of what we mean by insurrection, right? And then there are the lawyers here who and the people that are very interested in law, that I think their natural instinct was immediately to start talking about legal definitions. And I do think it's important that we might use the word insurrection to mean some form of rising up to stop a law. And it's an extremely vague and open-ended thing that you could apply to many, many things. You could apply it to Black Lives Matter protests. You could apply it to nearly any riot, for example, that is designed to stop some function, or that stops police from doing their job, etc. Right? And then there is a legal definition of insurrection in the American vein, which is tied to the Civil War, designed to ensure that former Confederates don't hold political office. And when we get into like what insurrection is and how it differs from sedition, that's fine. We can talk about that, but I think it's important that maybe the lawyers remember that, to the audience and to a lot of other people, there's two kind of ways that we use this flying around and like immediately screaming about the legal nuances. I think it's becoming like unhelpful.
The reason that the attorneys are thinking that way is because it helps clear any vagueness. It helps lawyers are taught in law school how to. I don't understand.
It's really not simply that. Fabian, you're correct. There is a difference between the colloquial usage of the term and the legal definition of the term. The problem is that the colloquial definition of the term has literally no definition. So there's no point.
Yes, it's super open.
It's a silly question to try and analyze colloquially.
Can I ask a quick?
I'm almost done. And then my point is this.
Just on that, can I ask a quick thing about what you just said? Can I just ask a quick question about what you said? Okay. Is there a legal definition for insurrection?
It has to be. The Constitution has the.
I know the Constitution references
insurrection,
it, but is there a legal definition for it?
There's no firm standard that has been put in as to when something rises to level of insurrection on a legal basis. But there have been debates amongst different courts and different legal scholars as to at what point we get to a stage that this is now classified legally an insurrection. My point was that when, I'm not sure your name, Blue Shirt, I apologize, but when he's talking about saying, like, why are you introducing a legal perspective? It's because a colloquial perspective is always going to be 100% subjective. And if you don't like the fact that it happened, you're going to label an insurrection. And if you're not that bothered by the fact that it happened, you're going to say it's not insurrection. That's from a colloquial perspective. So the only thing left to debate is whether legal scholars would qualify this as being a legal insurrection. And that's why those of us who are more familiar with the law immediately went in that direction.
No, I'm not judging you for doing
against
that
the state?
so much. I'm not judging you for doing that so much. I'm just trying to say that there is a separation there, and that like we should make that distinction known.
Thank you.
And
Fabian, I'm glad you bring that up.
Was it a violent uprising against the state?
Yeah,
we're saying it's not an insurrection.
I
gotta interject one quick thing here. Hold on, I'm sorry.
You have rebellion and sedition
for months
as well,
now. Hold on, wait. Also, okay, if you want to do the legal lawyer thing too, okay, if you want to say that you're citing a legal definition, you need to cite some part of the U.S. Code or some part of the Constitution, because it's not a legal definition unless you're actually citing something.
That's wrong.
You could be citing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You don't have anything.
That's wrong.
You could be citing.
Wait. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Sure. You can wait.
You should take back what you just said.
That's embarrassingly wrong.
Stop. Or you can cite a prior case, okay? But right now, so what you just brought up, Lauren, I couldn't find that. I Googled it. It looked like that came from Wikipedia. When you said that like an insurrection requires like weapons, is that what is like the case, whatever? You guys should like refer to cases or refer to like the like actual legal code or refer to some part of the Constitution. You have to refer to something in particular, okay? Whatever it is, I don't know what it has to be.
That's why I cited the Colorado trial court opinion. And
was it
to be fair,
against the state?
Pisco, I understand that you cited that, and that I think that's fair and I think that's good. But then when other people are arguing you about that citation, they need another citation. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're going to make legal appeals, like appeal to something, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna agree just
in case anyone's still stuck about this thing with weapons as well. Like we know that like the leader of the Oath Keepers on the morning of January 6th was telling his members that you should, if you're going to bring a blade, make sure it's under 3 inches because over 3 is prohibited in DC publicly. And then also we know that the first breach of the Capitol building was literally a guy who stole a riot shield from an officer and used it to smash the window. Not to mention, even it was the deputy chief of staff for operations who went to Trump and said that that these people have weapons and they don't want them to be confiscated.
No, according to Lauren, they weren't armed.
I want to Pisco. Okay, oh my God! All right, so I want to ask a question to Fabian, Logic, and Lauren. The question is, I asked, was it a violent uprising against the government, which is definitional colloquial insurrection? And if it wasn't,
rebellion.
Was it a peaceful uprising against the government?
Okay, so I would say that
I'd like an answer to my question.
It was.
Yeah, I would say it was not an uprising against the government.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Oh, that was.
So I would say it's not an uprising against the government, right? Because no one there they wanted to institute what they believed to be correct. At least if you're talking about something.
Was that based off of a false premise?
No. So Pisco, rebellion. Pisco, stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting a question that was asked to me. I'll try and be brief, okay? Calm the fuck down. So I will say this. The closest definition that I can find to the time period, right, if we're going to try and understand the definition as it was written in 1868, doesn't say anything about armaments, right? That is not a requirement for insurrection. It is just and this is from Webster's 1828. If somebody has a closer time period definition, I'd be willing to accept that. But I would say that Webster's 1828 is going to be closer than our current definitions, right? And so it's if you have one and you want to pull it up and it says something about arms, let me know. But I haven't found anything that requires armaments, right? So I would say that, that being said, I don't necessarily care whether or not it's insurrection or a riot, but in terms as it's legally defined in the context of American law, I think that does, it's like when you see the Espionage Act used against Edward Snowden, it's like, sure, is it technically true? Yeah, but should it exist? Is it moral? And also, is that the intent of the law in the first place to go after fucking NSA whistleblowers? I don't think it's meant to go after rioters that got out of control because of police that didn't do their fucking job and all of these other problems.
The technicalities matter here. And so first you started off by saying, well, it's not an insurrection because they genuinely thought they were doing the right thing. The Civil War people thought.
I never said that. I never said that. You were too busy interrupting me.
They were instituting their vision of what was required or whatever.
No, I said the difference between a rebellion. Yeah. Because that's what happens when you talk over people.
Okay. So put aside rebellion. We're talking about insurrection. The question on the table is whether it was an insurrection. Your answer to that was no, as I thought I heard, and your rationale for that was
you started interrupting me. Again, I claimed it was by the 1828 definition.
Okay, so it is an insurrection. So you agree that it's by the historical, and I agree with your approach to use the historical example. You agree that by the historical examples, it is an insurrection. So who else here doesn't think it was an insurrection using the historical example?
Well, I don't think it's an insurrection because I don't think the people there were there, at least the vast majority of them were there in order to overthrow anything. The vast majority of them were walking through. So my issue is, a lot of the people there were there to listen to Trump speak. As Trump was speaking
about what?
Well, he was talking about the electorates. He didn't think that they were done rightly. Yeah, he was talking about the 2020 election, and I understand that. A lot of them were there to listen to Trump speak. As he was speaking, that's when the Capitol was attacked by a small minority of the people.
We're doing it by percentages, Lauren. So if 100 people heavily armed went into the Capitol to try to kill everyone there, would you say, well, it's 100 out of 80,000? Therefore,
just let me finish my thought process, if you don't mind. Yeah. So a lot of people. So once the Capitol was breached, however, Trump was still speaking, and then after he finished his speech, many people walked over to the Capitol because they were trying to protest, or at least let their voices be peacefully heard about the situation at hand. So when they arrived to the Capitol at this point, the vast majority of them saw people walking in and out of the Capitol. They saw police officers not preventing people, not arresting people. They were walking within the red velvet ropes. they weren't being violent. They were saying hi, taking pictures. So a huge portion of these people, they weren't there trying to overthrow anything. They didn't even mean to trespass. They weren't on notice that they were trespassing.
Complete
So-
miscommunication.
I was walking towards the
got-
Capitol after the Trump speech, and while I was walking towards the Capitol, I was hearing in the crowd, "Hey, they've broken through the Capitol. They're going in. They're going through the police lines. They're storming the Capitol. Let's go, let's go, let's go." And I heard that from the crowd. Now that wasn't everyone.
And you
to
saw,
be
did you see
clear.
tens of, did you
They
see
didn't
tens
know
of
it was
thousands-
There were
illegal.
people. Well, let me
They
finish the
didn't know-
sentence. Okay, thank you. There were some people that were doing that. There were other people who were more confused. There were others that were arguing with other protesters, saying, "You don't beat up cops like that. These are different cops. These are DC establishment cops. These aren't back the blue cop." And they'd argue back and forth. But I would say then the question wouldn't be, did everybody engage in insurrection? Because not everyone was charged with sedition, not everybody was charged with violence, not everybody went into the Capitol. The
Right.
question would be, who in the crowd did engage in sedition? Who in the crowd did engage in insurrection?
And how
But-
many charges were there?
But that would,
Okay,
but let's
And
also be
back to
clear.
charges.
But we were
Back to
asked to give a
charges.
blanket.
Of course, we're
We were
back to
asked to give a
charges.
blanket
But
description.
let's
Back to
also be
charges.
So if there's
clear
any-
that none
I
of
would
this
say
could have
at
happened
least one
if
meets
the
definition of
stew,
charge.
if the chemistry, the combination that Trump put out there with misinformation and disinformation around the election, this would have never happened if he didn't give them the fuel to make them angry. If what Trump said was right, they should have stormed the Capitol and done more than storm the Capitol. If what he said was correct about the election
Yeah,
being
if
stolen.
those
Because that means our
fucking pesky
democracy is
blacks
dying.
stop
That's what makes
complaining
Trump's lies so
about
pernicious.
George
That's what
Floyd,
makes
we never
Trump's
would have had
lies so
those
That's really the
rights.
scariest thing.
I'm sorry, I can't
How
hear.
dare-
I'm
how dare
sorry,
blacks
I'm hearing
complain?
rambling from my right side. I can't understand where it's coming from. Anyway, what was that?
I said, how dare those pesky blacks complain? If those blacks had stopped complaining about George Floyd,
That is
we never would
exactly
have had
what
the
I said,
BLM
yes.
rights.
That's what I said.
Right.
word
George
for
Floyd
word.
was
You're-
actually
you're-
murdered.
you're-
Wasn't actually
your
Took
demand.
the word straight out of my mouth. Thank you very much.
Right, you're-
Okay,
but it's
remember,
how is it
don't speak.
disanalogous?
Fabian, shut the fuck up when I'm talking, please. Guys, don't speak over each other. Mr. 40K, go ahead. You were raising your hand. Also,
Yeah,
by the
so
way,
Fa-
wrap it up because we're gonna move on to the next topic. And also, I did say in the beginning that we're gonna do eliminations, but then I thought about it, and then I realized if we eliminate the people that disagree with the majority, then we're just gonna have an echo chamber. So for this episode, and we do these every once in a while, we're not gonna eliminate anybody, but at the end, we are still gonna pick a winner. And
Everybody
by the way,
comes to the same conclusions as Hippy Dippy Man.
by the way,
So-
winner gets $500 and a host. By the way, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So
Oh, that's
there you
sexy.
go. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
40K.
Yeah.
I was
So
the only one. I didn't weigh in yet. I didn't weigh in yet as to why it was
Oh,
not.
Okay,
Logic,
good logic.
can I-
You
can
go
I
after
just-
him. You'll go after him. You'll go after him.
yeah, I'm gonna. So Fabian, do you think that there's an analogous difference between police brutality being real, police brutality being witnessed by the public, and then the public having a reaction to it, versus a small cadre of people basically making up bullshit, stacking bullshit on top of bullshit for months on end, and then conspiring with lawyers and people who are a part of the government in order to literally take over the government based off of information that they should know is false?
Keep going. Okay, so here's
And
what I'm
have
going to
been
say.
informed as
That,
well.
oh no! What I'm going to say? No! Stop talking. I was asked a question. I'll be very quick. I'm not going. That is such a loaded bullshit question. What I'm going to say is that if people believe that they have been wronged and they presumably have a right to speak up against, or they have a feeling or desire, and then some people take those ideas of being wronged and go too far, there's nothing disanalogous between Black Lives Matter protests when they threw Molotov cocktails and stormed the Capitol and May 20th, 2020, right? And they attacked police then, and they went past the barricades, and other people that happened to be larger, where it happened to get more out of control because they too felt wronged. This idea that you go,
Except
but
whether or not
George
there was a
Floyd
fact of the
was
matter at the
killed.
base that was true. Whether or not there was something true at the core
No, it's
of
a
their
bullshit
belief.
comparison. It's a bullshit comparison. George Floyd
One is
wasn't all of these
true,
people's
one is
cousin, right? Like,
One
No,
is
wait, that's
true,
not the
one
question,
is
though.
false.
The
Wait,
question-
difference.
what is-
oh, sorry.
George
okay.
Floyd was murdered, but the election wasn't stolen.
No,
That's
he
different.
wasn't. George
No,
Floyd
okay.
was not.
He
Yeah,
was
George
murdered.
Floyd was
It's
murdered.
only
He
three
was
years
children was found
I
guilty.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yes.
guess
Oh,
a
man.
drug dealer murdered
I could
him.
get
guess
into it if I
that's
want to,
one
but I'm
way
not
to see
gonna.
it.
I didn't see
The
a
thing
drug
is, it's a
dealer choke him
bullshit.
out on the floor.
Oh shit!
Actually.
You also didn't.
You
watch
haven't
the
shown that
trial
it's
at all,
disanalogous.
Lauren.
I did
Otherwise,
watch
you would
it.
know
You just
that.
said-
Okay, Lauren,
you said-
Stop. You guys are deviating from the topic. Number one. Number two, good logic. Please go ahead, give your take, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Thank you very much.
the reason it cannot be an insurrection, at least for the vast majority of people who were there, is because they were all under the impression that they were pushing their political leaders to act within the scope of their powers as political leaders. That was why when they say stop the steal, it wasn't of, oh, we're going to behead Nancy Pelosi and stop the steal that way. It's that we want our leaders to show the backbone and to use the powers that are afforded to them under the Constitution. And specifically in this case, we're talking about Mike Pence and the call for him to at least examine the slate of electors for the purposes of sending it back to the states. That was certainly what the objective was here. And their perspective was not we're committing a crime, not that we're overthrowing the government. It's that we are basically challenging our own political leaders to step up to the plate and fulfill their responsibility and fulfill their duties and their rights in order to ensure that the integrity of a vote, which had a lot of shady issues behind it.
Just
and that's why
I would like a rebuttal.
That's why it cannot be an insurrection, because they're not trying to
No, there's no good faith exception.
No. They're trying.
I don't think. No, wait. I don't think you.
You can respond.
Okay.
They're trying to ensure that the government is operating properly as they understood.
That's not an excuse.
That's not.
I would like a rebuttal.
If they're not trying
I
to
feel
break
like
the law, that's not an insurrection by definition.
Civil War people didn't think that they were breaking the law. That's not an exception to doing an insurrection.
You're wrong.
I feel like all
no,
these
they
excuses-
didn't.
Excuse,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have, yeah. So there's no good faith
wrong.
exception to
You're
insurrection.
historically wrong.
You can't say, well, because I thought it was.
Historically
Wait,
full of garbage.
the
Because
rebels.
when
The
they
rebels
fire-
had
when
their
they fire
own.
on Fort Sumter. They know they're breaking the law. When they
No,
fire
the rebels. The rebels, by and large, had
every
their.
insurrection and coup, there are lawyers trying to pave the way.
The rebels all thought that they were legally justified. No one would ever say, "Oh, these poor little babies." I thought it was legal to go and trespass on your home. I thought it was legal. I thought, hey, let me finish. I thought it was legal to go assault you. I thought it was legal to go steal your saxophone. I thought it was legal, and so because I thought it was.
Do you have a source for that?
He's no let logic. Let logic.
Wait, let's logic finished. I'm responding to him.
Pisco, you're explaining. You're coming from a completely different angle and pretending it's the same. When you and I should both know that that's a completely false argument. Because what you're talking about is in the Civil War, where they use justification to break the law. I'm saying they were not using justification. Say, oh, we're allowed to break the law. Things could be bent here because there's justification. I'm saying that the vast majority of the people who are operating there, the people who went into the Capitol, the people who went to the speech, were all under the assumption and belief that they were acting consistent with what the Constitution allows. Not that we're breaking the law now, so we're firing on Fort Sumter, which is a completely ridiculous.
Their knowledge of the law. Hang on. Their knowledge or non-knowledge of the law.
That's consistent with the law.
Yeah, and smashing windows.
Their knowledge or non-knowledge of the law is irrelevant to the question that we're assessing. And but by the way, you're just wrong about all the arguments for the Civil War and the secession. All of these people had theories that this pact was easily to be, like, you can break it and it was legal to do what they were doing. In fact, they viewed the attack from the northern people. No, there's
you're equivocating between secession and firing on Fort Sumter.
Hang on a second.
You're equivocating between firing on Fort Sumter and the right of secession.
So Fort Sumter, what do you think the rebels viewed Fort Sumter as? Fort Sumter was quote unquote federal occupation of part of South Carolina.
Southern territory. What the fuck?
Why do you think that? Do you think they didn't have legal arguments to justify their attack on Fort Sumter?
Hang on. Do you have a single source for this?
Excuse me. Their justification was South Carolina was sovereign and the Confederacy was sovereign, and that the feds who were there
still federal land
weren't there appropriately or legitimately. That was their argument, and just so you know, even if it were true, even if it were true, even if it were they thought that the feds were illegitimate. They thought that the feds were illegal, and there is absolutely zero good faith. Excuse me. There's no good faith exception that if you think what you're doing is legal, if you think what you're doing is proper, that first of all, no one thought that when they were breaking windows and hunting for politicians.
For a handful of people,
there is no exception.
The vast majority of people.
They thought they were saving the country.
People who walked over the broken glass.
Can you be good faith for 2 seconds?
I just think it's such a ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous defense that this idea that, like, if you sincerely think your president is the lawful guy, you can't be guilty of an insurrection. Like maybe if it's the case that, like, even the defense that, like, Lauren was making of the people going through to the Capitol, like, yeah, we know that the Proud Boys did most of the fighting to begin with and broke down the barricades, but they deliberately broke the barricade. I'm still talking, you dickhead.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
And
then the barricades got broken down, and then they deliberately broke down barricades that linked Pennsylvania Avenue, the end of it, to the Capitol. So they knew, because they wanted to egg on people who arrived to go further in. But at the end of the day, like maybe you don't think you're doing anything criminal, but if you're literally like walking past like broken barricades, there's fighting up ahead of you. You're like, oh, at what point is like, oh, I'm just gonna go past these broken windows. I'm trip over like another broken barricade. There's cops fighting in the corner. Like, oh, I think maybe I am actually just like doing this in the service of the Constitution.
They didn't know
I don't know
better.
if maybe in America like you can just like plead retardation, but like fuck
it was
me.
a process of many hours, and not all of the debris was right. Like if you have hundreds of people walking over something, debris tends to go to you're not probably going to notice that. If you're in a huge large crowd of people and everybody's
the tear
walking
gas,
in
you
the
notice that.
direction, and
The battle
walking in between the red ropes, you see the videos of these people just like walking around with their selfie sticks,
engaged in single combat.
And I
see
saw
the
another
videos of people in Mortal
Pisco,
Kombat.
Pisco, you're dominating the anti-bullshit side, so I would like to fucking hit this. This is absolute fucking cope. Number one, there's nothing that says the vice president can unilaterally reject votes that have been certified by states. I very much doubt that you can find a single fucking shred of paper that fucking says that shit. And number two, you said that there's a video. There's a video.
But they thought he could, so it's fine.
You want to pull it up, and then you want to pull it up and read it to us. And then the second portion, hold on, there's a second argument. I will be happy to listen to you say it. And then the second portion of that is you're saying, oh, these are just, mostly peaceful protesters and they walked over the debris and the debris was knocked over. I also watched a fucking video of a person on the other side staring down the barrel of a fucking Glock next to the Senate chambers saying that we're going to get in there. You might as well give up now. And if we get in there and we got to hang some congressmen, then that's just what we need to do. Can we at least agree that one person was committing insurrection or had the intention to commit insurrection? Can we stop coping about that one person maybe, or are we just going to jump away from that?
Wait, specify again. Which person? The one who did what?
Whoever the fuck was holding a cell phone camera staring down the barrel of a fucking Glock.
Connor, what's his social security number? Go ahead.
I don't have the social.
Okay.
Do you have the social?
So it didn't happen, right? Good logic. Are you denying it?
No. I don't know what he's describing. Is it the person with the Glock or the person with the cell phone?
He clearly said the person being aimed at.
The law enforcement officer, I'll describe the scenario. The law enforcement officer has a pistol. It's the famous picture of the two guys who are standing behind barricaded stuff, pointing their guns outside of the window. There's human beings outside of the window in the door and all that kind of shit. They're videotaping themselves breaking into the Capitol. One of them says, you might as well give up. You might as well let us in. And if we're going to hang some fucking corrupt congressmen, then we might as well do that. So do you think that that person, that one person, forget everybody else, forget the fucking 99,000 people out there, that one person had an intent to commit insurrection?
If they express an intent to kill someone, then I would agree with you. That person probably. I think it's fair to hang Mike Pence.
There's at least one insurrection that day, right? You would agree.
There's just
no. You don't have multiple insurrections. It's either the entire thing is an insurrection or it's not. It's not. You have multiple. You can have one person who's trying to engage in insurrection.
I could expand this to probably a few other 100 or maybe even 1,000 people, but I at least. I appreciate you following me on my logic. Thank you.
The thing that gets me about this is a lot of, if you look at like historical insurrections, most of them don't start because one guy was like, okay, we're all getting together and we're all overthrowing at the same time. A lot of them start because they were in a crowd, they were angry about some issue, like the issue in question. And when you get in those crowds, you're basically like high when you get angry in one of those crowds and you're surrounded by people. It really takes you over. And it's not hard for me to imagine that a lot of the people went to the Capitol that day with no intention to storm the Capitol, no intention to fight police officers. Many of them are National Guardsmen. Some of them are former police officers themselves. Then they get in the crowd, they get angry, they hear people chanting, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence, and then they go to the front and start fighting with cops and storm the Capitol building. Those people, at that point, whether they intended to or not, were engaging in stopping the transfer of power from one president to the other. They were engaging in and intending to engage in insurrection.
Can you name one? Can you just name one?
True. What Dylan said.
No, I just meant Dylan. Can Dylan name one?
The shaman.
You said a lot of them. You said a lot of them start with people showing up and they have no desire to commit any form of insurrection, which is to say they have no desire.
The ousting of Yanukovych.
What happened with Yanukovych, originally it was student protests during the nighttime after they tried to go back on their promises in the middle of the night. Student protests went to the Capitol. Then they got brutally beaten by the riot police. Riot police got super angry. Then it spiraled out into eventually the overthrow of the Yanukovych regime.
The Arab Spring.
Absolutely.
As well.
Name five
the
more.
Arab Spring is.
I just got a question. I'm just thinking, like, let's say it's only 200 people or 300 people. random number, just who want to commit the insurrection, and everyone else, thousands of people who end up into the restricted grounds, are just there because they're caught up in like mob mentality or like whatever, or they just don't know. Like, does it stop being an insurrection just because of that?
Of course not. This whole notion that like because the
No, I want to ask
majority
the other people if that's all
I
right.
just think it's interesting that it's classified as an insurrection, but the majority of people were charged with trespassing. And then if you look at the people who were charged with insurrection, like Enrique Tarrio,
no one was charged with insurrection.
He was charged with conspiracy and
sedition, right?
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Sedition.
He received the worst charges, and I think 22 years, and he wasn't even there. He got charged for burning a BLM poster. I mean, it's actually quite wild.
Whoa, that was so dishonest. What you just did.
And the FBI had informants on their defense team. So you know.
What Lauren is trying to do.
No, that's not what I asked.
Everyone needs to understand the incredibly dishonest thing Lauren just did. Lauren, you are just pretending. You are pretending. No, he was not. No, he was not.
Was Osama bin Laden on the airplane? Hold on. No, Pisco, let me just own this shit. Was Osama bin Laden on the fucking planes during 9/11?
Are you saying Enrique was the one who got all those thousands of people to go to the Capitol?
Look at the incredibly dishonest thing Lauren just did. Lauren just tried to conflate.
Pisco, relax on calling other people dishonest. Calm down.
Wait a second. Can I talk? Mr. Don't interrupt me. Lauren just tried to conflate the separate criminal matter that Enrique Tarrio had at the moment, which was like him defacing property. You were trying to conflate that.
Enrique Tarrio burns the property of a local black church.
You just tried to say that in the same sentence and pretend as though the conduct for which he was charged with seditious conspiracy related to the BLM property-related offense that he had.
Was it not charged in the same case?
No, they're completely separate cases. You must know that, Lauren.
In the same trial, no.
You must know that.
Why are you bringing up the BLM thing? That was a separate gun case, wasn't it? Didn't he also have a gun case?
Has nothing to do with the insurrection and the seditious conspiracy there. And for you to bring that up, you either have no idea about his charges, or you're just like purposely doing this to try to pretend that the conduct related to the BLM stuff was at all related to the insurrection stuff. And then, of course, Connor's point.
Why are you filibustering
pretending
about this? Nobody cares.
That you have to be in the moment, in the place to do a crime. That's fucking stupid. No one thinks that way. No one thinks that way about Osama bin Laden. If someone ordered a hit on you, Lauren, or a hit on anyone you loved, you wouldn't be like, well, I guess he didn't do the killing.
Yeah, wasn't Tarrio part of that? Wasn't Tarrio was part? Wasn't Tarrio part of that like Ministry of Defense? Like, wasn't Tarrio? But he was part of that like Ministry of Defense group chat that he organized with the Proud Boys leaders to organize the attack, wasn't he?
Yeah,
by organize the attack.
He organized. Wait. Have you read the indictment against Enrique Tarrio, Fabian? Yes or no?
No, I haven't read the whole indictment.
Do you know anything about his conduct?
I'm asking. I asked you a question. I asked you a question, and then your response to me asking you a question is, "Oh, you don't fucking know what you're talking about." Jesus,
no.
Answer the question.
So you're just
when you
saying
say he planned the entire
Enrique Tarrio didn't plan the whole thing. He didn't plan the whole. What are you talking about?
Can you substantiate? If you can substantiate it, then just do.
No, Enrique Tarrio is not being charged as the person, the master puppet master that manipulated every single individual in the place,
which would make him a little different than 9/11, right?
But that's not the standard for knowing if someone is either one engaged in insurrection or engaged in sedition.
I don't know. I feel like the standard for 22 years in prison, where might be, I don't know, someone actually planning a terrorist attack of some kind.
Wait. Do you think planning an attack on the Capitol?
The point, though. The point was whether or not you have to be physically present in order to be a part of a crime. That was the only point being made.
I think that's the point. I think that's the point you're trying to make as a means of subverting the fact that Lauren and a lot of other people are upset about the fact that there are double standards, or that the idea that the entire onus of this conversation
lock up all the BLM people. I don't give a fuck. Get them all.
The entire onus of this conversation conversation, the entire onus of this conversation is it a riot or is it an insurrection? And obviously we go down the legal definition of trying to determine that answer. But I think the reason that is a question that strikes at so many people is because so many people, especially on the right, feel that this January 6th thing is this massively overblown thing where the state apparatus has been turned against people in the most vicious way, giving them the most maximum sentences, and has targeted people that if it was any other form of protest or any other type of thing, they would not have this massive double standard.
You said it correctly.
I think that's
it's
why
feels.
people are so
it's 100% feels. It's not based on the substance of the conduct alleged. And if you like, you're sitting here.
It is.
That's what I said.
It's all so it's all based on feels. The double standard.
Okay, I got a question for you. Okay, it's all
nonsense.
It's all feels. So I got a question for you, feels wise. Okay, since it's all feels, how do you feel it would happen if, I don't know, a BLM activist got 22 years in prison because he orchestrated a protest that turned violent, and then throughout the trial, America learned that the FBI had informants that were privy to the defense lawyers' case, were still embedded with the family at prayer meetings and were possibly fishing their information.
How do you think this all feels?
How would that? How do you think that? Do you think there might be a double standard?
I'll answer that. So look at that shiftiness and dishonest. On the one hand,
did I say that was dishonest?
So your comparison, right? You're trying to make an apples to apples comparison of Black Lives Matter if they engage in the same conduct and they plan a protest that just. No. What you're
It's a fucking thought experiment, you dipshit.
Hang on. No.
Answer it.
What's dishonest is your staging of the hypothetical for the BLM is they just planned a protest and, out of the head of Zeus, it just became violent as opposed to an active, purposeful planning.
May 20th, 2020, they showed up with Molotov cocktails. They showed up with Molotov cocktails. Fuck off. So there was more violence planned.
The second dishonest. Okay.
Before you go any further, you admitted to me on the air in front of thousands of people that whatever level of insurrection someone's going to attribute to January 6th, what happened in Portland with attacking of the courthouses, what happened in Chaz in Washington State was clearly much more.
100%. Oh, wait. I did not say. I never said much more.
There were hundreds of charges from BLM riots.
So wait. I just want to answer that. I want to answer that completely. So I 100% agree. I do not mind in the slightest saying that the erasure of the state and local governments in a certain place because of the occupation of the Chad zone is an insurrection. Easiest bullet to bite of my life. I do not say for a second that the attacks on courthouses
so then answer my question.
Be insurrections. The hypothetical that Fabian presented was different than the real life insurrections that did in fact occur.
Can I answer Fabian? Can I answer Fabian?
Fabian's hypothetical was totally misleading.
I want to answer Fabian's hypothetical.
No, it's not. You fucking sack shit. You just called me dishonest and you can't back it up.
If Pisco is agreeing that it is an insurrection for what BLM done on multiple occasions with Chaz and also with blowing up the courthouse and on other occasions as well, attacking the White House, then why is the FBI not using nearly the same resources to determine who was involved in those instances as they did put all hands on deck for J6 and fully targeted them? And conservatives sat with a year of essentially January 6th over January 6th, January 6th, January 6th.
I can answer that too.
Nothing getting done, only 300 charges over the course of a year, and then January 6th happens and over 1,000 conservatives are charged.
So all I hear right now.
Wait. Hold on. I just want to ask a quick question. I'm going to toss out the conservatives. Okay, fuck off, you. Okay. I'm just curious because the BLM comparison is brought up a lot. Okay, so for all the conservatives that bring up the BLM comparison, can you guys cite just one example of somebody that we know that was ahead of time planning any type of riot or attack or violence at a courthouse?
The Dallas shooter.
So again, when I said I brought up May 30th.
No, wait, hold on.
No.
The answer is no. Fabian, are you about to give an example or no?
I'm giving an example of a specific protest, right? Not a specific person, but I'm going to.
Okay, wait, no, hold on. Let me. No.
You're trying to force. You're trying to force a gotcha. Don't force a gotcha. Just let me answer very quickly.
Stop.
I'll be very quick. You're trying to force a gotcha.
I'm not trying to force a gotcha.
It's bad framing.
I'm asking the question. I'm not. Jesus, just let me do this. I'm trying to make this nice for everybody, okay? Instead of eviscerating you like Peace Code said, okay? The problem is you don't know the underlying facts of any of these cases. That's why your comparisons are bad. That's why I'm asking a very specific question. I'm asking a very specific question.
Exactly. Yes.
Stop. Come on. Let me ask the question. It's a
stop bullshitting.
If you don't have an answer, just say, I don't have one. The question is there an example of a plotter or schemer, an individual that was planning a BLM riot in advance? That's the only question. If the answer is
yes,
no,
that's why it's a bullshit question. It's a bullshit question. And the reason it's a bullshit.
Cunts. You're both stupid.
That's
the fucking Dallas shooter.
That's not a protest situation, right? So they would just argue that that's disanalogous because that he would just say it was disanalogous. But listen, yes, he would say it's disanalogous. Listen, it's very simple. When January 6th happened, we only knew a couple of names. We knew Enrico Tarrio because the Proud Boys had their name. The FBI went full force. They went through every fucking Facebook. They put task force together to try and discover and learn who all of these people are. They put none of that power,
keeping us safe,
none of that police force
from dangerous
towards investigating people that brought Molotov cocktails to that pre-planned violence that brought weapons that the only reason these weapons exist is to burn shit. Okay, and so the reason is that yes, we know more names about January 6th because we've had over and over and over again. We have had investigations and investigations, task forces, a massive amount of power to discover these people.
Wait, just 1 second. I don't want to jump to another thing.
Yeah, it was May 30th. Yeah.
Okay, just because that was a simple question. Okay.
Can we just stop right here?
We're gonna jump. We're gonna do the whole May 30th.
So the comparison, the comparison Fabian is making, Fabian. Are you aware that Donald Trump characterized the May 30th, what you're calling an insurrection, as
I didn't call it an insurrection.
Never a problem? No problem whatsoever?
I don't even like Trump.
Wait. Do you agree that he said that or not? Were you aware that he said that?
I don't remember what Donald Trump said about May 30th. No,
Donald Trump himself, so he was in the White House when this happened, right? The violence happened.
Yeah, when he downplayed it, he got moved.
So he said there was never a problem, not a problem, no threat. You aware of that?
Why do I give a fuck about Donald Trump's narcissism and his bravado during the attack?
Are you surprised that the Department of Justice, which is under the executive branch, under the command and control of the Attorney General, who serves at the pleasure of the president, that when the president characterizes something as not a big deal, that it isn't investigated?
I love how they always serve under the pleasure of the president, and like the president is pulling the fucking strings.
From 10 fucking minutes ago, please allow me to do so. I want to earnestly answer fucking Fabian's question.
Okay, well, let me just respond to Pisco super quick then, and just say it doesn't fucking matter. The double standard the double standard that you have is like, oh, it's they serve under the pleasure of the president.
Why didn't Trump go after them?
Of course they. Okay, oh my fucking god, the same people.
You have an answer for that, Fabian? Stop floundering and answer.
The same administration, right, that was hounded legally from almost every three-letter agency in fucking existence during his entire presidency.
Go general.
Why didn't they?
General. Anything to talk about the specifics. Anything but talk about the specifics, right? You don't want to deal with it because it totally flies in the face of your narrative.
No, it fucking doesn't.
They're obviously not. They're obviously not.
You're utilizing Donald Trump's bravado and the fact that he said I was fine, everything's okay. As a means to try and pivot away from the conversation.
Shut the fuck up. We've been dealing with your autism all fucking night. Both of y'all shut the fuck up. I want to answer the question earnestly because I feel like it actually demonstrates something. Okay. Fabian, you asked if BLM had done something analogous to what we are accusing the January 6th people of doing, should they be infiltrated and prosecuted? As an example, I'm just going to describe it real quick. Well, okay, then repeat it for me because that's what I have down.
I said, what do you feel like the outrage would be from the American people if BLM had done something comparable to January 6th and one of the major planners, architects of whatever was occurring, they had FBI informants in their family that was privy to the defense team and was there for prayer meetings, etc. And we found that out and they went along with the case anyways and then sentenced them to 22 years.
Okay, I'm going to make it analogous.
Directly involved in the violence.
I'm going to make it analogous even though I don't think it's analogous. Okay? So if we discovered information that there were BLM leaders who were texting each other, signal chats, Discord chats, text messages, whatever the fuck, emails, and they knew that they were going to coordinate and start a protest that would become a riot, and they were going to capitalize on that riot by causing property damage and hurting people. And by the way, this isn't fake. This is real. Like some of this shit kind of happened. I would be perfectly fucking happy with the judicial system taking any means necessary in order to investigate and prosecute those people. Now, before you interrupt or interject, hold on, one more thing. Okay, so I want to answer Destiny's question was there anyone who pre-planned violence on behalf of BLM? That might not have been the thrust of your question, but I just want to say the Dallas shooter was inspired by BLM-style rhetoric, and he murdered, if I remember correctly, 6 police officers as a result.
Okay,
if there was a group text message, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
sure, go ahead.
Are you talking about the shooting in 2016?
Yeah.
The BLM riots and everything were like 2020 onwards. I don't know what this.
That's additional violence.
He's not saying he planned. He's not saying he planned like a riot or anything. He's just this guy just like did a shooting. He planned that he would do a shooting.
Planned violence on behalf of the ideology.
Okay, I know, but I don't. Hold on, I don't know. Wait, I'm just because for some reason conservatives never want to defend anything on J6. They say we can't defend that, so then they pivot to BLM. So
that's
all
not
I'm
true.
asking,
I want to finish the analogy.
I specifically defended January 6th. You know, you're mischaracterizing.
You defend January 6th? You
I want to finish what the fuck I was saying, you fucking cucks. Please let me finish what the fuck I was saying.
Okay.
Hold on, Logic, I respect you. Thank you, fellow centrists. I love you like a brother.
Connor, go.
We
Connor,
will
you
get
gotta do it
beers
like
later.
Connor. 30 seconds. Go. Wrap it up. What do we got? Make a comparison.
So if there were text messages between leaders of BLM coordinating that attack, I would absolutely want law enforcement to investigate and prosecute that. Finally, was there a double standard?
That's not the comparison.
Yes, there was. Was there a double
privy to
standard?
their defense
Yes, there
team
was.
after they're already in court.
I wouldn't give
It's
a
completely
fuck
different.
If
It's a violation of
Dallas
constitutional
shooter
rights.
Had a family member who was FBI who was spying on him. I wouldn't give a flying fuck.
Right, and this is
And
how
then
you get
by the way,
fascism,
Ron
you
didn't
dumb
get
fuck.
He got
Is because you
suicide bombed by a
stop giving a
robot.
fuck about the Constitution.
Wait,
so long as the bad guys get punished.
Okay, please tell me the part of the Constitution that was violated by Enrique Tarrio having law enforcement members who were a part of his fucking whatever.
What's the constitutional violation there?
Tell me the constitutional violation.
So hold on. So you
answer that.
Okay, so let's go through. Do you have a right?
What's the constitutional violation, Fabian?
Oh my fucking god!
Even the spirit of it. I'll take the spirit, if not the letter.
Cool.
What's
if
the
spirit?
Get
it out. Get it out.
Right? Yeah. The idea that you can have informants.
What was violated? What was violated? What's the right?
Please go. Shut up.
The idea that you can have informants that are in someone's family while a trial is going on that could potentially stop attorney-client privilege and make it to where attorneys aren't aware that they're actually sharing their defense strategy and evidence and the arguments that they're going to use with the prosecution because an paid informant is still in your family is a giant fucking problem.
Wait, the informants.
If all that's true, then like maybe they should investigate that. Sounds like something to bring up in court. Like, but what does that change here?
There's tons of
years.
There's tons of Sixth Amendment precedent. You can find it about jailhouse informants, people who are after the initiation of formal proceedings against someone.
Jailhouse confession is not the same thing as an informant in your family that is getting information from your defense team.
Wait, let me clarify. Hold on. Is Fabian complaining? Is your complaint that an attorney and a client are having a conversation and that attorney-client privilege is being broken because the client decides to willingly share that information like a fucking retard with family members, and one of the family members might be an informant? Is that what the complaint
breaks the privilege? Wait, no, it would break the privilege anyway if you're going to third party.
If I just want to be aware if that's a complaint, we're dropping this whole topic. That's the most retarded fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's not the most retarded fucking thing to just mischaracterize what I said.
There's no attorney-client privilege. Everybody broke it.
Yeah, you could absolutely have attorney-client privilege if you ask, like, if I'm a defendant and I have trusted people and my attorney thinks that having these trusted people would help my defense.
People that are at your prayer meetings.
The attorney can talk to, if with your consent,
the trusted person exception.
Right? Those people, no. This, it's not called the trusted person exception, but if you are a defendant and a third party is there, so for instance, if there's like a child with their parent, that's like the most common one. But even if you're an adult, like a over 18 person, and you have like a parent or a friend that is reliable.
You sure about that, Lauren?
It sounds like a skill issue, to be honest. Yes. This really sounds like a skill issue.
We have other on panel. Am I wrong?
So my understanding, and I was only just working on privilege log the whole weekend. My understanding was that third-party communications, unless there's a common interest issue going on or there's a corporate situation going on, the common interest defense, which is not applicable. Like, oh, I trusted that guy; he was my friend, or is my brother or sister.
Yeah, skill issue. Defense, and these people seem to be like applicable because they were there. Like, I don't know exactly what what
I
situation
can't wait
you're
for the
referring
mafia case
to.
where the mafioso's on the stand and he's like, but
He was my
but
family.
Slimy Jimmy was my friend. I don't know. How can he
I
be a
trusted
snitch?
him.
He was
That's
my cousin.
disanalogous.
No,
It's disanalogous because the court case is going on.
Slimy
Cousin
Jimmy,
Slippery
if you needed
Jim.
Slimy Jimmy for your defense, and he was one of your witnesses, and he was somebody that your attorney and you were working with, and then you find out later that.
But that doesn't sound
was-
analogous.
If he's like an agent of your lawyers, or if you're hiring experts, but that's not what's being described. And
No,
also
Politico, Politico
cares?
specifically says.
About?
This
I'll
is not
just
what
share
people
you
are
the
talking
fucking
about with
story.
informants.
No.
This is not what people are talking about informants.
So
When people
from
are talking about
Politico,
informants,
quote,
people are talking about
Proud Boys attorneys, informant had contact with defense team and defendants. Like, this is a problem
purpose
when
of
you have
helping
an
with their
FBI
case.
informant that they don't know about, and they're in direct contact with the defense team. Like, this is absolutely an issue. I'm not saying that in this that we have the details to know that this is like this specific violation, etc. What I'm saying is, because you asked about fifis and you said everything was fifis, I said, how do you think the American public would react if the shoe was on the other foot and the media
law
found
enforcement
out?
going after criminals, I would
That's
feel
not what
very
I'm
good
fucking
about
saying, you
our
slimy
Department of
fucking-
Justice. I feel very good about our
He is a
Department of
lawyer.
Justice
No.
going
Wait,
after
dude, no,
criminals.
that's
That's what it sounds like.
Wait, can we
You're
ask
so
a question?
fucking bad
if the
faith,
question's
dude.
about putting the shoe on the other foot, let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say instead Trump actually won in 2020 and Joe Biden was like, "Nuh-uh, I didn't lose. I didn't lose at all. In fact, we need to challenge in the courts. In fact, we need the vice president to overturn the results of the election. We need to do this." And then on the day of the election, or the day of the transfer of the power, Joe Biden supporters, after being falsely told that actually Sleepy Joe had triumph over all, stormed the United States Capitol with the intention of trying to stop the transfer of power of the vote. Do you think that administration would then go on to say, you know what, this is just a riot, let's not go after these
Yeah,
people, let's
actually
let them
do.
go, there's no deterrence that needs to be established here,
I
there's
do.
no standard that needs to
I'm
be
an
established
anarchist.
that
I
we
do.
deter
I'm an
these
anarchist.
people.
Have
Have
you
you seen the way Democrats
true.
storm into like
not true, dude.
conservative halls of justice?
I'm asking-
and
I'm-
there's,
no,
like,
you
No,
answer
no,
my
I'll
question.
answer your question,
No, my
honestly.
question,
so many
wait, no, I would like,
sit-ins
I want
during-
Lauren specifically to answer my question because I.
Oh, yeah, you want her to
this is
answer,
good
yeah.
Enlightenment. I do want her answer. I do want her
Yeah,
answer.
Yeah, because you keep
She
saying
might be
stupid
honest.
shit and getting caught,
Lauren,
Fabian. So
Lauren, no,
maybe
I-
take a
I
break.
just wanna
Yeah,
ask.
I think
Whoa.
that they would brush it off. If
Do you
it was
think
the shoe
Trump
on
would
the
have been like,
foot.
okay, yeah, you guys can all go.
No.
You can all
I
leave."
think
I
no.
don't
I
know.
disagree. I think Trump would
Dylan.
I think Trump would absolutely
Okay.
use power to try and go after these people. And then what you would have is you would have every leftist, every fucking media organization in the country screaming fucking fascism is here. Fascism is here. The DOJ, they had people, informants planted in the case. Like, you would be, the
And
mountains
it'd
would
be
be
as
fucking
stupid as
ringing
the
and
Republicans do it
singing.
right now.
That's proof you're
No,
wrong.
it wouldn't be,
that
because it would be
if someone
wrong
tried
to
to
do
do that
that.
to Trump, he'd probably get like fucking martial law. Okay, I don't know.
Proof that you're all out of your minds and that Lauren is correct on this. And that is the whole chant, lock her up, lock her up. How much, and what happened with Hillary? Nothing. Trump,
that's kinda
Doesn't that make Trump a fucking pussy?
I'm still talking. And while everyone here on the left, and especially, believes that Trump is this crazy, vindictive, tyrant, fascist, Hitler wannabe, at the end of the day, you can't point to a single time that he was acting vindictively and using his
Oh, I
DOJ
can.
to go after someone.
Oh yeah, I can. So Trump,
Please,
so
one
Trump
example.
called. So
Doesn't that
so
make him
do you
retarded?
agree? Do you agree? Yes or no? That Trump specifically called on his Department of Justice to indict Joe
Doesn't
Biden.
that make him retarded?
they?
Oh my God.
Wait, hang on. Did he pressure them to do so? Did he pressure them to do so? Yes or no?
The left thinks they don't use
Well,
power.
thank God, Bill.
They.
Thank God,
You're
Bill
saying yes
Barr.
and-
Despite video evidence of the guy saying I used $1 billion to blackmail the hell of taxpayer money to blackmail the hell out of getting rid of Shokin, still they didn't go
Oh,
after
we're back
him.
to that conspiracy theory.
Oh,
So
it's not-
good luck.
It's not conspiracy theory when the
It
guy
is,
admits
it
it on
is.
video. When he makes
It
it on
is,
video,
I
it's
mean,
not
it
conspiracy
is.
theory.
Shokin, that was, you know what? Joe Biden was
Wait,
based as
Pisco,
hell
hold
to
on,
pushing for the fire.
Hold on,
Shokin-
wait. Pisco got ripped. Wait, hold on, wait. Good luck. You have to answer Pisco's question. Why did Pisco asked? Did Trump make that request of the DOJ?
Of the
And then
DOJ.
you shifted it to, well, did the
Yes
DOJ
or
do
no?
it? That's not relevant, right? The question is, did he make the
That's
request?
what to say.
right?
Doesn't that make Trump retarded or incompetent?
No.
Did Trump call on the DOJ to indict Joe Biden in October of 2020? Yes or no?
Some members of the DOJ claim he did, and it's very
Well,
possible.
no. He did it publicly. Agreed? Yes or no?
Oh, publicly it's publicly like are you
So
when you
in-
say publicly? Tell me, is that like when he said, "Hey, Russian"?
That's when it's in public.
No. When he
Is
said
that what you call publicly?
When he-
I saw that. That was a joke.
Exactly.
No. In October, and this was tweeted at you, and I don't know why you haven't responded. He called for the Department of Justice and Bill Barr to indict Joe Biden. Yes or no? Do you condemn that?
I don't know that he means it seriously. I didn't see it.
He was joking.
Oh, how fucking low is your guard? Excuse me. No way. You guys are from like the fucking most powerful.
You don't know when you're joking or not when talking about democracy and threatening it.
Did they do it? Who did he seek vindication against?
Well, thankfully,
tell me one, because I'll tell you.
Bill Barr, who you think is corrupt, and lying to him, and it was a mistake to hire Bill Barr in the first place. Bill Barr and the Department of Justice did not interfere in our election by indicting the sitting president in October of 2020 on nothing, on bullshit. So I'm glad the Department of Justice, who I still think has credibility, and who I don't think is this organization. What are you talking about? Good luck. I can hear you.
He was not the sitting president in October 2020, Biden.
I'm sorry. Donald Trump wasn't the sitting president in October 2020.
You said he didn't indict the sitting president in October 2020. That's the words you said, and I'm like,
okay. Then if I said that, I retract that. I meant the presidential candidate for the Democrats. If I said that, sorry.
Oh, okay. But you mean the way Biden's DOJ is doing right now to Trump over and over again?
Well, Trump broke the law and Biden didn't.
Did he break the fucking law?
So that's a
big difference. Important difference.
That matters. But I'm just a lawyer.
That's really fascinating thing because there's actually a book that says you commit 3 federal crimes every single day. You want to try and find some sort of ticky-tacky thing that you want to say?
Name it. Name a crime Joe Biden committed right now.
Well, Hunter should get fucked. We know Hunter should get fucked.
Wait. Answer the question. Name a crime that Joe Biden committed right now.
Treason.
Treason. What? The crime of treason.
I'll tell you right now.
Explain that one.
I had this whole conversation with you the other night. Okay, when the guy is helping his son present an illusion that Washington D.C. is for sale. I'll tell you, in my opinion, that's treasonous.
That's not. Yeah, put that in court. It'll fail.
If you sell the notion that Washington D.C. the vice president himself is able to be bought, then you sell that to Ukrainian oligarchs.
You sound unhinged. You sound unhinged. You're talking about.
That's not an argument. That's not an argument, Pisco, and you know it.
That's ad hominem. So I'll tell you. Could say I'll say you sound unhinged. It's the stupidest thing. You should be above that. You're an attorney, for Christ's sake. Now,
do we feel the same way? I'm just curious on that treason thing. Would you say the same exact thing about Kushner then, since the deals he cut were even larger than the ones that Hunter Biden cut?
The deals that he cut were the sale of property, not that he's getting paid $5 million a year for doing.
Trump is getting millions while he's in office for his private businesses from China. What are you talking about? Wait. Do you deny that?
Kushner cut a $2 billion Saudi Arabian deal after being in charge of like Middle East peace negotiations for the entirety of Trump.
When was that deal?
Wasn't it right after he left office? Right after
Trump was getting millions from China. Yes or no? While he was in office.
No, he wasn't getting.
Of course he was. Wait.
A company. He established it, and
is that him getting money? Wait, is that him getting money?
Are two separate things.
Okay, sorry. So when I was in a company,
how fucking slimy are you that you pretend that that's the same thing as like a dude who doesn't speak Ukrainian, has no idea what energy like is in any way, shape, or form, and is getting near 6 figures a month from a Ukrainian energy company.
Lauren, you agree that Donald Trump? Lauren, you agree that Donald Trump was receiving millions of dollars?
You sound unhinged.
I agree that Donald Trump had established businesses well prior to him ever running for office, thinking that he was going to run for office, that happened to be located not only in China, but in other parts of the world.
And that makes it okay? Wait. That makes it okay? If it's established, you can funnel tons of foreign money into your business?
If we're going to compare and contrast between Donald Trump and Hunter Biden, who is receiving millions of dollars.
I thought we were talking about Joe Biden's treason. We're talking about Joe Biden's treason.
No. We're talking about.
There's a lot of different corrupt things with him. You gotta try and catch up.
Pisco, are you?
Wait, Pisco, can we pick a lane here, because you and I have I literally switched teams in the past 2 minutes. So like, can we pick a lane here?
Treason because he called his son. I don't know what to say.
I think Hunter should get giga-fucked. I don't think you would be able to prove Joe. But anyways,
I just want to ask you a question. I just want to stop right now. Hunter Biden is being prosecuted for tax felonies by the current Department of Justice under Joe Biden right now. And we are really making this comparison?
which you argued about against me for about 6 months, saying it was all bullshit and smoke and mirrors.
Wait, hang on a second.
Now
I
all of a
never
sudden
said the
he's
tax
being
charges against
charged.
Joe Biden were bullshit. What we were arguing about was the
Uh-huh.
evidence of a double standard or the Department of Justice playing favorites. What I know is that they're going after Hunter Biden and they're charging him with felonies.
Going
He
after
could-
him so hard.
Speaking of which, hold on. So
Ray Epps got probation, man.
Speaking quickly to double standards on prosecution. I would love to talk to Destiny later about Acosta and Epstein and double standards on prosecution. Would love to talk about that. But anyways,
Amen.
so getting back to this, can I just get a principled stance from you, Pisco, on whether or not it's illegal or legal? Is it immoral or morally dubious to be raking in millions of dollars into your family while holding powerful public office? Can I get a simple answer on whether or not that's morally questionable, if not illegal?
Wait a minute. It's not Joe Biden's action. It's dubious from Hunter Biden's perspective for him to, while his father is the vice president and has some relationship to the ongoing negotiations with Ukraine, for him to take a seat in 2014 on Burisma, that and trading on your family name is always like unsavory, 100%. But we're talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden does not control Hunter Biden. Joe Biden does not control James Biden.
It's cute.
They're separate.
It's fine.
Wait.
I never heard what the defensive. I never heard what the defensive Kushner was. Why is that
There is
different?
absolutely no defense of Kushner.
Because
so-
he actually
also just wanna add-
because he
I just
delivered
wanna-
goods and services. It's wildly inappropriate for him to do it while he's in office, but he delivered goods and services.
Do you not think?
what's-
Do you
wait,
not
wait,
think? Do you not think Kushner's actions before he left office matter? Like the fact that he literally fucking defended the
Of
crown
course it
prince after
does,
the
but
murder of
people argue
Khashoggi.
this shit
So we're
about
talking
Hunter all
about-
the time. They
So,
say
but-
Hunter, no big deal. He can funnel millions of dollars into the Biden
Wait,
family.
wait,
No
wait,
big
wait, wait,
deal.
so what-
It's
wait,
all
what
gravy.
Kushner's-
It doesn't matter. He's not
Kushner's
related
history-
No,
to
no,
his
no, no.
dad.
That's
Can I
not
ask
true. They just say it's only about his
experience in
penis.
private equity. Wait, what's Kushner's experience in private equity? Do you have any?
Well, he did some of the most amazingly successful negotiations in the Middle East and North Africa.
Wait, I asked
so
a
he
specific
did
question.
pretty well.
I asked a specific question. Do you know of any history of Jared Kushner's private equity business acumen?
Have you watched any of Jared
Yes or no?
Kushner's
Do you know? You can
actual
say no, I don't
interviews?
know. I can say no, I don't know, or yes, I know, and this is
I
why.
can say no, I don't know, but have you
Okay,
heard him
so-
talk about the subject for extended periods of time?
About what? The Middle East or private equity?
About both? About
You're
getting
saying Kushner
private.
is providing value add. You're saying Kushner is providing
Yes.
value add above and beyond his name and what he
selling
did politically
car
as an
company,
off.
crying out loud.
Wait, so
am.
Connor, you're saying because Connor, you're saying there's no difference, right? With Kushner, so you think they're both condemnable, right? But I wanted to ask
Yes.
good logic. You seem to be saying that like what Hunter Biden or Biden did was treason, but why is it not for Kushner if he was literally like
It was
buttering
better.
up the Saudi crown prince after
As
the
an
murder of
official
Khashoggi
member
while he
of
was in the White
government, by
House?
the way. An
Yeah,
official
whilst he was in
member
the
of
White
government.
House. Yeah. That
It
is that
was
not
better.
selling out America
By the way, can I
to
just
Saudi
remind
Arabia
everybody
for
that
money?
Trump's first trip
No, I
overseas
know,
was
fucking
the first time it ever happened in Saudi Arabia.
Is that why is what Kushner did not selling out the United States for Saudi money?
Because there's a huge difference between selling something and selling nothing.
What do you mean?
Wait. Let me ask you a question.
The
Wait,
defenses
stop,
of the
stop
crown
for a
prince
second.
in the
Stop
White
for a
House?
second.
Wait,
Wait,
what
how
if
do
he-
you know that? No, wait. How do you know that? Number one, Trump's first trip overseas was to Saudi Arabia. No American president ever done it. He was the first president to ever do that. Why? Also, he funneled tons and tons of weapons to the Saudis, which he then used in Yemen ruthlessly at a much higher rate than the Obama administration, and pursued policies that were favorable to the Saudis much more closely than the previous and the administration that came after him. So my question is to you, how do you know that he didn't give them anything when he gave them many things?
Okay,
That does seem a little
I can
weird,
answer that.
I
I
would
can
say.
answer this geopolitically. They have 1/3 of the world's proven oil reserves, and they're geopolitically significant.
Counter. My
OPEC
point
plus.
isn't that there's no significance of Saudi Arabia. My point is you cannot say, oh, it's impossible that all that money that went into his hotels, the $500,000
yeah,
from
can
the
I
Saudis
articulate
and the
this?
money after didn't have any impact.
I
My only
wanna-
point
I
is
wanna
you just
disassemble
cannot
it.
say, I don't want to hear, no, the Shokin case, horribly corrupt. I mean, there was tons of reasons for Shokin to be fired. He was horribly corrupt. All of Europe wanted him corrupt. Most Ukrainian activists wanted him fired. Everybody wanted Shokin gone. And we can talk about that case, but how is that such a clear cut? Hey, sorry,
If
I didn't
this
hear.
was-
I'm sorry, you're rambling right now, and I can't listen because I don't
No,
want
no,
to.
just
Oh,
because you want to say that, I can't hear you. You can act like a child. You wanna act like a
I
child.
wasn't done.
You act like a child. Literally
I
acting
can't
like
hear,
it.
dude. I'm sorry. I'm just not
Wait,
gonna
wait,
let
wait,
this
let
happen.
Dylan finish. Okay, let Dylan finish, then good logic response. Okay, go. Dylan finish, then good
When
logic
it comes to the
response.
Shokin case, everybody in Europe want him fired. The Ukrainians want him fired. The Americans want him fired. Everybody except for Shokin's corrupt buddies wanted him fired. I have an explanation as to why that can happen. I don't know for sure any corruption went on there because I don't have any evidence of it. Now, I don't have any 100% evidence that the reason why Trump did any of those things was to, suck the hairs off the cock of the crown prince. I don't know that because he got money. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. What I am saying is you're very confident about the Shokin case, even though we don't have hard evidence, but very quick to dismiss the Trump case, even though we do have good reason to believe that he did favor the Saudis over other allies.
Also, heads up, we're going to let Good Logic and respond to that, and then we are done with the fucking Hunter Biden shit. I don't know how every single conversation about any related Republicans ends up with Hunter Biden. We're going back to the J6 stuff, okay?
Hey, man, it hasn't gotten to immigration yet, so consider yourself
Okay,
lucky.
hold on. So Good Logic respond to Dylan if he wants to, and then back to the line of question related to J6 stuff.
It is irrelevant whether or not every person on the planet wanted Shokin gone, whether every person in Washington wanted him gone. The point is that his son, who had zero qualifications and didn't even speak the freaking language, was getting paid millions of dollars by some of the most corrupt people on the planet. And the only possible explanation for that is, and this is what the left claims, is that they were buying the brand name, the Biden brand name. The only thing that could possibly mean is that they thought that they were having access to the White House. That's what the Biden brand name means. That's the only thing could possibly
And they were
mean.
wrong.
And they may have been wrong. They may have been wrong. But I'm not done yet. You do your whole stupid childish blah, 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 like, and think that means you win an argument.
No, I'm with you.
My point is this, that when you go out there and help sell that notion, even if it's in Americans' interest, even if the left and right are both on the same side, that Shokin has to go, he's terrible. The fact is that he is selling
He
to
didn't do that.
these corrupt people
Yes, he did.
the idea.
Joe Biden did that?
Okay,
Joe Biden
okay,
sold
let
it.
him finish. We're not talking about Hunter for the rest of the time. Let Good Logic finish. Stop sniping each other.
Helping his son sell the notion that if you give money to Hunter, that your wishes are what are going to dictate what Washington does. Even
You
if
should never
Washington
call
wants
his
to
son.
do it, you know what? You're right. In the middle of 20 times,
never call your son.
Shut up. What a stupid thing to say, never call your son. You're trying to make it as if calling his son in the middle of a board meeting is something normal people do. That's something that's just so standard. It happens all the time in the business world. No, not in the middle of a freaking business meeting. Yeah, we know the guy is
Depends on a lot of things,
he also
right?
said he doesn't know what business his son is in, and yet he's
the
calling
vice
him
president of the United States. Of course he can call into any business meeting he fucking wants to.
That's a ridiculous
Mrs. Cope.
perspective because the only reason that he's calling in there is to help sell that notion. He knows what his
You
son
know
is
who's calling who?
trying-
Is Hunter calling Joe or is Joe calling to Hunter? Do you know?
It happened both ways. That's what Devin
Gives
Archer
a fuck.
So
Devin Archer also said.
wait,
Devin Archer also said there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever he was involved in any way.
matter what Washington wanted. It doesn't
So-
matter whether Shokin was
okay.
perfect.
That's Devin Archer's
or-
testimony.
All of that
That's
was
your
lovely, but you
witness.
didn't at all confront your double standard as to why Trump. You can just dismiss that. While the Shokin case,
Oh,
maybe
I
it's true, maybe it
didn't.
isn't. But the
I
Trump
didn't.
case, now that it's what.
I'll
Why
answer
it like
that as
Trump
well.
has
are you
fucking
so
times.
aggressive about
I'll address that
Shokin
as
though,
well.
but not
Dylan,
aggressive at all
I
about
will
Jared
address
Kushner and the
that as well.
billions?
I will address that as well.
Okay.
Because there are two reasons that the situation with the Bidens are far more sus than the situation with Trump. The far more sus thing is the video of Trump of Biden admitting that he's basically blackmailing Ukraine into doing his bidding.
That was the correct thing to do, by the way.
Being based. Yeah.
I just want to say that was the right thing to do. For the
And the
record.
second thing is Hunter selling his qualifications, which were Zippo, non-existent, for millions of dollars. To compare that to like, well, there's a big business deal where we saw Jared Kushner get billions of dollars for the sale of property is ludicrous.
You're
It
leaving
doesn't
out a
make
lot of
any
information.
sense.
You're leaving
Oh,
out a
yeah,
lot
wait,
of
can I
information.
wait, can I ask you? Wait, I know, but I just wait. Hold on. Wait, I got
No,
two
you're
quick
gonna-
things.
you're
He
gonna-
said this.
I will-
I know you won't. Hold on, but he said this over and over again. Okay, you keep saying selling property. What did Kushner get $2 billion for?
I think it was the property rights on
The private equity deal.
No, wait,
folks.
wasn't this just an investment? Wasn't it just money sent to the hedge fund that he runs?
Let me
or
be
that he's
clear.
part
He
of?
got $2 billion from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund after the board said we don't want to invest in this because this looks shady, and the Crown Prince overruled them to give the $2 billion
Sure, but hold on,
anyway.
real quick. But the money was not for property, right? Why does it keep being said for
No.
property?
It's
I thought
to
it was. I
invest.
thought it was
It's-
into. I thought it was
yes.
an investment fund. Yeah, it was a hedge fund. So when we keep saying it was given for nothing, I don't know why we
So
keep.
he's buying an interest in a hedge fund. What I'm saying
Yes,
is he could also
in a hedge
It's
fund.
property.
That's
it out the next day also.
It's not
That's
land.
fine.
And in
That's fine.
exchange,
Number one,
and in
That's fine.
exchange,
That's fine. Number one.
and rather than
wait. So it was an investment fund. Number one, not for property. I don't know. What that,
I apologize.
That's okay,
if I
that's
conveyed
fine.
it as
Your
real
apology
property.
accepted. That's
I
fine.
wasn't trying to mislabel or confuse anyone.
Okay, that's fine.
My
But
point
you
is
made
that
it
he's
sound like
buying
buying real
something.
estate.
I
Yeah, he's buying
apologize.
something. That's correct. And we buy good. You're a lawyer. We buy goods and services, right? Lawyers sell something. It's not a physical thing, but it's a service, right?
Right.
I hear this said so many times. Why is Hunter Biden on this board? Why is Hunter Biden on this board? Why, blah, 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 blah. just because you don't have a direct link to the particular business that you're sitting on the board on, things like connections or things like being able to connect you to other people that might be relevant or interesting to you.
Blue
These are
Star
valid
strategies,
reasons
which
why
Hunter Biden did.
These are valid reasons to throw somebody on a board. Like 100%.
I concur.
Wildly immoral.
And I concur. And Hunter had the most obvious connection in the world. That's what he
Right.
said.
The
That's,
vice president.
Wait,
And then also third question. Third question. I know, and then I'll get to it. Third question, then I'm done. Okay? Because he's saying this. Hunter Biden had the most obvious connection in the world. Hunter Biden is probably one of the most investigated private citizens in U.S. history. I don't know how many congressional hearings, how many FBI things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do any of the conservatives here? Is there a single smoking gun or anything relating to Hunter Biden like illegitimately selling his father's business, or Joe Biden, more specifically, Joe Biden working with Hunter Biden in that? Is there anything that connects that? In all of the investigations, all the hearings, all the committees, all
Good
the
logic says he doesn't need it. Good logic says he doesn't need
No, wait,
any.
I'm just asking one question. I just want one thing.
I'll tell you what. I'll go off camera and Pisco will tell you what I'm going to say.
No, I'll tell you because I've had this conversation with you and I know exactly what you're going to say.
Then let him
what
say.
you're going to say
Let him
is
answer.
he
No,
doesn't
let him
need
answer.
it.
Let him answer. Just let him answer.
Let
He's
him
right here.
answer.
Yeah. What is the answer to that?
Logic, go ahead.
You ready?
Yes.
You ready? Right.
I'm lubed up.
Please give me your question.
Yeah. Is there any actual evidence of Joe Biden working with Hunter Biden to like sell illegitimate business like interest or whatever? Because Hunter's been investigated so many times, like questioned so many times, and so many committees, so many things. Like, is there any evidence of this?
The evidence that we, the public, are aware of are testimony from Tony Bobulinski, WhatsApp messages referring 10% to the big guy, and Hunter Biden also saying, "I'm not going to take a cut for you the way Pop does," and there also was this, there was also an FD 1023, which was basically saying that the money from the guy who paid it off. So yeah, there is evidence that ties Joe directly. Is it enough to convict him? I don't know.
You said it wasn't even enough to impeach him over. You said it wasn't even enough to impeach him.
I'll stand by what I said to you, Pisco, which is unless he's impeached and convicted, I do not think that he should face criminal prosecution because
that's about the immunity stuff, which is your bizarre former crimes.
Even though I think he's a terrible human being, he's very corrupt, and the guy has basically raped our country for his own personal welfare.
Damn. You're accusing him of treason. Treason is a crime. So
he's impeached and convicted. The Constitution precludes him from being able to be charged with any.
Let's be clear. Cut you off because I let Destiny keep interrupting me, and I let him go, but I never got to finish my point. So to be clear about the Jared Kushner money, Jared Kushner works in real estate, which is why you probably thought the money went into properties because it's what he's known for. But the money he got wasn't for real estate. It wasn't for houses or anything. It was for an industry he has no experience in, and he got $2 billion for it. Now, I don't know if you've ever had $2 billion. I haven't had $2 billion. But if I had $2 billion, I wouldn't give it to somebody who doesn't have any experience in an industry for no good reason. Mind you, the money was from the Saudi Foreign Wealth Fund. So it's not like, oh, it was a Saudi businessman who owns a company in Saudi Arabia. This is Saudi Arabian money. This is Saudi Arabian government money that was given $2 billion to Jared Kushner. After the board of the Sovereign Wealth Fund looked at Jared Kushner, looked at experience, he said, this is fucking stupid. We shouldn't give him a dime. He's going to piss our money down the drain. And then the Prince of the Saudi Arabia said, no, I'm overruling it. He gets the $2 billion anyway. I think that's suspicious. Now, I don't have evidence that Jared Kushner, he was given this $2 billion just because he's corrupt. I'm not finished. He was given this money just because he's corrupt. But what I am saying is that if you don't treat that with the same level of scrutiny you treat the Shokin case, that's partisanship, and that's the only explanation for it. Now, the second case, when we talk about the Shokin case,
I'll ask you, what? No, you can't just throw out that that's partisanship without answering.
It is partisanship. I mean, it is. If you tell me Biden gets
let him answer.
One simple question for you. What do you think that Jared Kushner corruptly did while he had access to Trump being in office?
He defended the crown prince after a fucking journalist was murdered.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not only the murder.
That's a bit worse than no one likes, right?
But let me run through this stuff again, because like you're saying that because your line was Hunter Biden gets money, Joe Biden does the favors, because Hunter Biden doesn't have the power to do Ukraine anything. So the logic would be Jared Kushner gets the money, Trump does the favors from his position of power. What has Trump done for Saudi Arabia? Again, he was the first one to visit them. He dismissed any of the journalistic murders of Jamal Khashoggi. He gave them tons and tons and tons of weapons. He stood with them them more than the previous administration and the administration that came afterwards when it came to the human rights abuses and what he was willing to look the other way with and enabling their actions. Again, I don't have evidence that these two things are connected. I don't have anything to bring them together. But if you look at this and you say, nah, man, I need to look at the Shokin case when there was a reason for Shokin to be fired and there wasn't a reason for Jared Kushner to get that $2 billion, I think that's bullshit.
That's
he also,
okay. Can I address this? Because I can actually address it intelligently.
No, wait. Kushner also gave the crown prince.
Loner, stop. I want 40K to go. I want 40K to go. He's been raising his head for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you kindly. So, Jared Kushner, we're talking, okay, I'm talking but specifically about the Abraham Accords and his interviews around the Abraham Accords. He's been criticized for his lack of credentials. He doesn't have the business experience. He doesn't have the negotiation experience or whatever. Just watch the motherfucker talk about the Abraham Accords. Talk about how they got Bahrain. Talk about how they got Oman. Talk about how they got Saudi to the table in order to talk about development in the West Bank, in order to try to incentivize every partner around Israel, in order to normalize relations. Even look at what's happening right now where Palestine is getting giga-fucked, and there's no major Arab or Muslim majority country right now that's trying to fuck Israel right now. This is all because of the past 5 to 10 years of negotiation between the United States and the Saudi government. What did Jared Kushner get the Saudis? He got them a $110 billion arms deal that helped them deal with the conflict in Yemen with the Houthis, who are becoming everybody's problem. No. You can say fucking delusion. We could literally
Kushner's
go watch
the
a
reason
fucking
there's
clip
not a
and he can
broader war. Are you giving Kushner responsibility for the fact that it hasn't broken up into a wider war, as opposed to the global dynamics between Iran and the Arab states and factors way out of control?
He's just talking about weapons.
Pisses me off. Let me tell you what pisses me off about you. Pisses me off about your smug little fucking face is that you can go and read endless articles about how the Abraham Accords were actually one of the crowning achievements of the Trump presidency, and yet you dismiss it as a retarded fucking pipe dream.
No. You are giving him. No. I am not. I am. First of all, I'm happy with.
Who's the architect of the Abraham Accords? Which countries? You son of a bitch.
Which countries are involved in the Abraham Accords? Do you know? Which Arab countries?
Literally just pulled it up. I think it was like Bahrain, Oman, and fucking Saudi didn't sign, but they were still part of the talks.
Right. So what you're suggesting is if Kushner hadn't been involved, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Morocco and Sudan would have joined to attack Israel in this conflict with Gaza. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's exactly what they were gearing up to do.
They're probably holding their people back. Whenever you looked at the conflicts, like in Iraq or Syria, you had presidents and you had prime ministers encouraging people to go there in order to engage in holy jihad. I don't know about you, but all of the media that I've seen coming out of Saudi Arabia is actually challenging Hamas and saying, you fucked up. You brought this on yourself. You would not have seen that 20 years ago. And if you say that you would have seen that 20 years ago, you're fucking lying to my face.
So wait, let me. Can I put out an olive branch here? I want to give Jared Kushner some credit for this, but this also doesn't just go to Jared Kushner. There are other people in the Middle East who have been pushing for this stuff, like Brett McGurk, who's currently trying to find a solution to the Gaza, the Hamas-Israel war that includes Saudi Arabian normalization. So it isn't just Jared Kushner, but I do need to give them some credit. But I do also want to say that did not come with sacrifices, like us removing our recognition of the people of Western Sahara for them to have independence, to get Morocco to recognize Israel. We also had to give up some things, including respect for human rights and international law, in order to achieve that. And I don't think that was necessary.
Okay, well, pragmatism over fucking idealism. And then, okay, what I want to say, just because I want to extend an olive branch to my fucking lefty friends over here, is he got a $2 billion investment in his hedge fund, probably because he helped negotiate a $110 billion arms deal to Saudi Arabia in order to help them with the fucking Houthis, okay? I'm not saying it. But what I am saying is that it's wildly inappropriate for Jared Kushner to do the good that he did and then receive a $2 billion payout from the Saudi government. It's also wildly inappropriate for the son of the fucking vice president and the son of the now sitting president to collect millions of dollars for effectively being a lobbyist for foreign institutions. And y'all don't have shit to say about that.
Wait, we do. Connor, you're literally lying right now. We called Hunter Biden.
Fuck you.
You're literally lying right now. We said it was.
You
are lying. You are lying.
I'm not lying about shit.
We literally.
If you say lie again, I'm gonna say fuck you again.
So
I'm not lying about shit.
Lying. You're a liar. I said that Hunter Biden.
Guys, relax.
Oh my God.
Hunter Biden. I criticized. I
Don't
criticized
say
Hunter
lie.
Biden.
Say misinformed if you want.
Okay, then you just forgot about the conversation we just had when you asked me, will you at least admit, is it unsavory will you at least admit? And I said, of course I'll admit that. So clearly you misremembered that when you asked me, right,
Let's
Connor?
French kiss under a bridge later, you fucking asshole.
Connor, did you forget that we just had that exchange?
Yes, but you and
Okay,
fucking
so
Destiny
you
have been
agree. You agree. Wait, Connor,
so I
real
have
quick.
post-traumatic stress from
Connor.
you and Destiny gangbanging my asshole for 9 fucking months on this specific topic.
Connor, so you agree? Would it be reasonable for me to think that like you were purposely doing it, or do you think that like I should intuit from that you had like the sudden
shut the fuck up and get to your point.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
So,
No. Okay,
Stop
no.
belaboring
I
this
can
idea of
concede
like
this.
we said it was bad.
I can concede this. Okay,
100%.
Pisco.
Let's go on.
I am
So Hunter Biden
emotionally. Hold on. I'll explain it. I'm emotionally traumatized from you and Destiny gangbanging me on Twitter and on stream about Hunter Biden. I'm very happy that you agree with me that it's at least immoral. I still have post-traumatic stress. If you want to get some wine and make out later,
Okay,
I'll ask the wife about it. Okay?
Wait, I will not defend.
My bad.
I will not defend because there's an appearance of a conflict of interest that it was even recognized by State Department contemporaneous emails. If you look at the emails that were released in FOIA requests and all that stuff, people are talking about it even then. So I don't agree. It's bad. It was a bad look. It was bad to do it. But we're talking about Joe Biden, and what Joe said was he committed treason by even calling his son during these alleged calls in these business meetings. And he even goes further. He says, I wouldn't impeach him over it, but I'm willing to on stream say that Joe Biden committed treason. How dare you? If there's not enough evidence, if there's not enough evidence to impeach him, Joe, if there's not enough evidence to impeach him over it,
selling influence.
Joe, if there's not enough evidence in your mind, and you said to me there wasn't enough evidence to impeach Joe at the moment, how can you sit here and accuse him of treason, a crime punishable by death?
You asked me what crime I think he's committed. You didn't ask me what crime can he be proven to have committed, and I answered your question succinctly.
Fucking lawyer answer.
So what you're saying is when you said that I think he committed treason, it's not based on any like standard of evidence. It's just you think.
No, that's
Shut
not
up.
what I
Yes,
said.
it is.
See, what a false way of framing it. It's like this is how you're so dependent to like false framing everything in order to try and feel like you're winning some sort of argument. It's ridiculous.
I am winning.
You asked me.
I want to zoom out. I want to zoom out.
You asked me a question and I answered it. Your question was, what crime do I believe he committed? Now, I'm sufficiently honest enough as an attorney to tell you that I don't think there's likely enough evidence right now to convict him. Certainly when you consider the fact that you would have to convince 2/3 of the Senate before you can charge him with a crime. And I don't think that there's enough there right now that you'll ever get 2/3 of the Senate to convict him on impeachment. So
why isn't there enough evidence? Why isn't we have the
because
calls? We know there were calls.
You would need
Because
to
half of them are
have video of
Democrats.
him
Relax.
walking out. You would need to walk out. You need to find video of him walking out with a suitcase that has $100 bills sticking out.
That's what you would need
in order to get 2/3 of this Senate to convict him.
Wait,
I want to zoom out.
You said the appearance.
I want to zoom out because Destiny pulled us away
you
from
said
this
the appearance
and said
you
like 40 minutes ago that we weren't going to talk about this.
You said you yourself said.
So like I want to. So I do want to zoom out and kind of bring this back to January 6th a little bit.
Wait, Fabian, 1 second. Before you do that,
let Pisco rant and attack for like another 5 minutes.
No. Pisco is doing great. Don't listen to all the naysayers. You know what I mean? Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? But like, let me ask 40K and Good Logic and the rest of you guys discretion, right? So when it comes to Hunter Biden, do you believe that Hunter Biden is only being investigated due to public pressure?
Oh my God! Wait, are we really doing a Hunter Biden? We're really doing a full-on.
First of all,
before you answer, let me start a whole thing.
No, stop. No, but first of all, you fucking midget. You don't have the right to fucking bitch about the questions at this fucking point, okay? 4 rounds in, I already told you, hey, let's keep it on
the conversation was good.
You said it was
listen.
No,
here's the issue.
Wait,
okay, stop.
Listen,
hold on. This is the issue.
I had a good segue.
Here's the issue with the Hunter Biden stuff. I think this is the frustrating part, okay? And I could be wrong, okay? But I think I speak for every left-leaning person here when I say, do you think it was fair for an investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server? Was that a fair investigation? I think every left-leaning person would say yes. Is it fair that Hillary Clinton had to answer questions, even on a public committee relating to Benghazi? I think every single person, every left-leaning person here would say yes. Was it fair even to have investigations into Hunter Biden? and the stuff related to him and Joe Biden? I think every single person would probably say yes.
Absolutely
Even if the launching point
No,
was
investigation,
kind of
100%. I agree.
Maybe Radical Coder say no. Okay, I don't care. He's done his own. That's just far left. Okay, sure, that's fine. Okay, right? All of us say yes. Okay. When we say, is it fair that even the did Merrick Garland appoint a special prosecutor for the Joe Biden classified document shit? Yeah. Okay. Even that. Yeah, sure, fine, okay.
Get to the fucking point. Could you do that?
I'm doing this just so we can skip all the Hunter Biden shit, okay?
No, we're not going to skip it because I would like to hear
good logic.
No, we're not going to skip it. No, we're not going to skip it because you said all the left-leaning people. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to hear what good logic and 40K have to say about it too.
Thank you. I'm saying we all agree with that. But then as soon as you say something like, do you think that there were probably legitimate questions asked about Trump's campaign about like Russia collusion, it's like game over. Is there any conservative here that believes that was an okay investigation?
It was proven to be ridiculous.
There's literally there.
There you go. Okay, that's what I mean. So that's the issue. That's the issue.
No,
okay?
I gotta tell you.
No, hold on.
It's not the issue. That's not the issue. They spent 2.5 years to find that there was absolutely nothing when the entire thing was predicated upon a DNC.
I'm sorry, but Mueller's investigation.
Okay?
I'm sorry, but Mueller's investigation turned out how many credible indictments versus the Benghazi shit versus the Hillary email shit? Can you answer that question?
Listen.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
What were those indictments for?
Exactly.
What were those indictments for, Stephen? What were the indictments for, Stephen?
Let me.
What do you mean?
Let me
the
put
indictments?
let me
The
put a
indictments
bow
were
on
proving
this.
a high level of Russian penetration into U.S. media. I think the indictments gave us a lot of insight into how some of the IRA, especially, and a lot of the social media accounts operated in the United States.
Yeah,
how much did we learn
2,000
relating to the
fucking
Hillary
Twitter
Clinton
accounts is not
email?
wrong.
17 of the 21 indictments for Russian nationals that lived outside the United States wasn't the remaining 4, except for
People
Paul
who attacked our
Manafort,
election?
not related to his conduct during the
how
Trump
many
years?
credible indictments came
Wasn't
from the Hillary
Paul
Clinton email
Manafort
stuff?
Wasn't Paul?
How many
Manafort
credible indictments from the Hillary Clinton investigation? Counterpoints.
Huh?
How many credible indictments? Here's two really fun numbers. One is how many credible indictments came from the Hillary Clinton investigations? The Benghazi one and the emo one.
What do you call credible?
0 to my knowledge.
Yeah. How many times
The
did
scope
Hillary
of these
Clinton
investigations are totally different.
How many times?
Wait,
This is apples
whether or
and
not there
oranges.
should have been is a
How many
different
times?
question. Whether or
How
not
many
there should
times?
have been is a
Don't
different
care about that. How many
Yeah.
times did Hillary Clinton plead?
I
the
know you don't care about
when
the
she was
truth.
answering questions relating to Benghazi or the email stuff.
0.
Okay, exactly. Okay, it's not even. You guys are in another world. Sorry.
No,
Continue on your
listen.
shit.
So I was
Not
trying
on-
to. I was trying to.
By the way,
Seven guilty,
hold on.
please. By the way, let's
So,
Hillary.
Let Fabian
There's
talk.
seven
please.
indictments.
real quick.
Better than no
real quick.
indictments. Hey.
Hold on. So, I mean, I'll set aside the fact that those two investigations are completely different scope with a much larger net, but we'll set that aside. I find January 6th, Benghazi, Ukraine, Burisma, corruption, they all have a common thread philosophically that I find really interesting. When looking as like kind of an outsider towards conservatives, I'm not a centrist, right? I'm an anarchist, a right-leaning anarchist, right? And so when I look at these, what I notice is somewhere along the way, conservatives forgot that the reason they were limited government is because this is how all government functions. It doesn't matter if it's left-wing bias. It doesn't matter if it's a right-wing bias. And so what ends up happening is you have the left and the right having these like contentious debates about like, oh, Jared Kushner, he's actually one of the good guys,
Okay, wait,
right?
do we need a 20-minute Fabian libertarian rant right now? How is this furthering any argument?
It's not. It's not a thing. If you have another question you want to bring because you tried to pull it away from it,
question.
Then go ahead and do that. But let me finish my point real quick.
Yeah,
let me just finish my point
All
real quick.
government is corrupt and bad, and it should always be small. That's the point you're making. We understand. You're libertarian.
Yeah, I understand that you have a limited understanding of libertarianism because you're too afraid to debate me one-on-one, and you always run and duck and go eat food whenever you're on a panel, right? But set that aside for a minute.
He is correct. He is correct. I am afraid. I am too afraid to debate libertarianism.
You get extremely upset about philosophy and then you walk away.
Recenter
right?
on the
yeah. I know you're going to moderate me out of my position after watching these people scream for 45 minutes.
I don't have anywhere near enough time to memorize that many different age of consents. All right. Okay.
So making memes. Are you really just gonna? Are you really going to do that? Are you really doing this right now? Are you really doing this right now? Are you that much of a coward?
Did we ever even agree at the very opening of the show of what an insurrection is? Did we even agree with that? Do we have an agreement that all of us?
I was the only one who proposed the definition, and the reason is, and I'll
you were
give
not the only one who
to
proposed the definition. I proposed the 1828 Webster one, and then agreed with it.
But okay. Sorry, you're right, Fabian. I'm sorry, you're right. Fabian and I both agreed on the outcome. The reason why I think Lauren and Good Logic will not propose a definition is because if they propose a definition, we can attack that with a bunch of historical examples and show that it can't mean what they're saying, because if it did, it would disqualify things that were obviously considered to be insurrections
The
by the
definition
people.
that I gave you last time was from, where was it from?
Also, Lauren, your mic is popping a lot. I don't know why. There's like a
Oh,
connection.
sorry.
The definition you gave me,
it's
Lauren.
from Oxford's English Dictionary.
Yeah. So that definition is
and
broader than what the Colorado
Is that
District Court
better?
did.
But yeah, it's from Oxford's English
Yeah,
Dictionary.
that definition that you gave us was broader than what the Colorado court used, right? So
No,
if you're
wasn't.
using,
Narrower.
yes, it was. You were citing a definition, which I don't know. Like, you can cite a definition, and you haven't given a reason why we should use that definition. At the very least, the Colorado courts have gone through an analysis to like assess why this is the correct
why
definition.
do you want to use the Colorado definition?
Because they've cited contemporaneous dictionaries. They've cited, most importantly, I think, case examples of what were considered insurrection at the time. Any position that says those are irrelevant is the same as saying, like, we don't care what the framers of this amendment wanted. And we shouldn't even be involved in the inquiry, or this was only meant to apply to Confederates, when it clearly wasn't. They could have said, this applies to the late insurrectionists or the recent.
What case studies were they using?
The Whiskey Rebellion is an example that you all can't get away from, because this is obviously considered an insurrection by the people who framed that amendment. And so any definition of insurrection that you offer, if you care about the intent of the framers, needs to include.
Do you have evidence for that? I'm just curious. Do you have evidence that when they use the term insurrection, they specifically were referring that the whiskey?
It was referred to as an insurrection.
Some people called it insurrection at the time.
It was known at the time. It was absolutely, there was no debate over whether it wasn't. It was the most prominent example of an insurrection at the time, because George Washington himself had to put it down.
At the time, the most prominent example would be the Civil War, because that's what
pre-Civil War.
Right. Yeah. I'm saying, do you have any evidence that the Whiskey Rebellion was in their minds when drafting this legislation, using the terminology of it?
Wait,
what evidence do you have?
100%. So they're referring to, and they're using terminologies in the public meaning at the time, terms like insurrection, rebellion, that were known to the framers at the time, to include some things, right?
So you're just making a claim.
I literally read the writing of the 14th fucking amendment, and there was literally a stipulation where one of the people was like, I don't want the definition to be so narrow that it exclusively applies to the Civil War. This needs to apply to rebellions now, and it needs to apply to rebellions and insurrections in the future as well. It's almost a direct quote from one of the authors of the 14th Amendment.
But again, his claim, your claim. Do you have any evidence?
Yeah, so to get to meaning of text, right? What is standard practice for legal interpreters, for judges to do, is to use at the meaning of words at the time, right? There was, at the time of the enactment of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, you can look to what? You can look to public discussions, you can look to proffered definitions in dictionaries, and you can use
every single definition includes an attempt to overthrow the government in one way or another. Every freaking one.
And if you stop, you not think there were people out there that felt that way who were attempting to do that?
Must be the mens rea intent.
There were people out there intending to do that.
Must be a mens rea
explicitly. There was at least one person who intended to do that.
Here's the thing, though.
At least one we all agreed on.
If 1% of a crowd has an intent that the rest doesn't have, to broadly refer to the entire thing as an insurrection.
Let's charge that 1%.
But then we would say, wait, no.
Like a bunch of fucking useful idiots joined them. Like what?
Thrown out. That's purposefully being thrown out for an agenda of trying to label the entire swath of everyone on the right as
I don't.
What percentage of the people
thing with
BLM?
If we
do the same thing with BLM.
If we
that was their whole argument. Mostly peaceful protests.
At least 1% of that crowd engaged in violence.
No, that's not what most of the people meant.
In an insurrection, then how could we not say, for example, 99% didn't engage in insurrection, but there was an insurrection amongst the 1%. That was an insurrection.
Exactly, 100%.
Dylan's right. That seems to be what you're arguing.
Of 20 people.
And right now, you can have it. You absolutely can.
Can I ask a specific question?
There have been many insurrections of 20, 30, 40, 50 people.
Can I have a specific question on this? If there is 1,000 people protesting and 100 people out there are rioting, are you not allowed to call it a riot because 900 of the people aren't participating in the riot?
This is from the crowd that told us it was all peaceful riots.
Answer the question.
Wait. To be clear. Hold on. Wait. To be clear. Stop. Hold on. Wait. Stop.
Why are you making me?
To be clear, when people said mostly peaceful protests, they meant most of the protests were peaceful. Not most of any protest was peaceful, and some of it was a riot. right?
Actually, I had that question
I
before January 6th
disagree.
happened. I had the question on what you're touching on right now. When they would say 95% of them are peaceful, I was like, does that mean that every one of them is fine for 95% of the time, and then they turn violent? Does that mean that out of every 100,
No.
of them are crazy violent? It was very unclear. I'm hearing static.
Lauren, is
It
that
wasn't unclear at all.
My
It
understanding
was
is that
if there were
online there
100
was
riots.
a database.
Yeah.
My understanding is online there was a database where you could look at every single. There was like over 1,000 of like
Lauren,
the BLM
mute yourself.
protests or whatever. Lauren, your mic is going crazy, right? There were like over 1,000 of these things, and they went through and they looked at how many people were like charged with like violent offenses or whatever, or for things like criminal breaking shit. What the fuck am I thinking of?
Breaking and
yeah,
entering.
like breaking shit or violence or whatever, right? And that's how they determine it. But
Perfect standard. That's perfect standard, Destiny. So what percentage?
So by the same logic, January 6th.
What percentage of the people were charged with insurrection? Those
None of them. Wait. Stop. Wait. No, that's such an easy question. Good logic. So if you've got 1,000 people at a protest, and let's say that it turns into colloquially a riot, let's say that 50 of them are charged with acts of violence, but none of them get charged with rioting, the legal charge of riot. Would you say then that wasn't a riot if the actual rioting charge wasn't levied at any of the people that were arrested for it?
Depends on the nature of who's charging.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Just right now. That's great. That's a great answer. No, that's a fine answer. And I think even Pisco, for as much as he laughed, he would agree with you. That it probably does depend. Sure.
No, I would not agree with that. Just to be clear. What he's saying is,
just a very narrow thing. Okay, so you agree then that whether you charge them with a riot or not probably isn't really relevant to what we would consider it to be a riot or not, right? Yeah. Like if there's a bunch of people and there's shit getting broken, bricks are thrown, buildings are being burned down, we would probably say even if I looked at that and I said like, oh my God, like what a riot, you wouldn't come up to me and go, oh really? Was a single person actually charged with the crime? Right? And I go, well, look at these like 100 people.
You'd laugh at them. You'd laugh at the leftists.
You would say
that.
Exactly.
The reason that I raised this over an hour ago is because what we saw flow from January 6th is that the DOJ went after every single person as hard as possible. And despite the fact that they went as hard as possible, they still recognize that there is insufficient activity for this to be labeled a charge of insurrection against any single one of them. The first person who's reportedly...
It's insurrection. Wait.
That's why we come back to now.
Insurrection is a crime in Title 18, but there's no necessary overlap between the statutory elements of insurrection as a crime and insurrection as defined in Section 3, and also there are different burdens and different procedures required for a Section 3 application. Well, no, I'm not bullshitting.
No, you are, because now you're talking about now you're talking about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, as opposed to was anyone charged under 2383 with actually.
So you're the one who's equivocating. You're the one who's conflating terms. What we're talking about.
I'm asking you, you want to label an insurrection. Why the hell were none of them charged with, not one of them charged with insurrection?
So because it's not politically expedient to do so.
After not responding to the response.
So there is no connection.
The response was, if you have 50 people in the crowd, this was Destiny example, 50 people in the crowd out of 1,000, and they're going out and they're smashing windows, smashing things like rah socialism or whatever they want, and they smash and we look at that, we would all say that's a riot, but none of them get charged with rioting. They may be charged with trespassing, they may be charged with smashing. They can't get them on rioting. Does that mean a riot didn't occur?
Or they don't charge them because they don't charge them because
why would you Why not?
That is a decision that is totally in the wheelhouse of the prosecutors of January 6th, and it actually undermines your point. Wait. It undermines your point about that they were going as hard as possible on the Jan 6ers. They could be going for those other charges because those are easier to prove, and they have a ton of caseload, and they want to do the easy, like get them on the.
Desperate to have an insurrection. If they could have nailed one person, hang
on a second.
It would have helped validate that empty perspective.
Hang on a second.
With it because they knew they didn't have it.
No. So first of all, your incorrect assumption.
Don't you think? Look how desperate the left is to say insurrection, and yet these same prosecutors who are no less desperate never bother charging a single person, the most violent person there, who I'll tell you right now should go to jail for their violence. I don't support any violence that was committed by anyone, left or right, at the Capitol. In fact, I don't support violence.
Real quick response.
Insurrection, no matter how much.
Joe, real quick response. Well, January 6th sedition.
I haven't looked up a definition of sedition. I don't know.
Wait, no. People were charged with seditious conspiracy.
We're charged with sedition. That is true, and convicted.
Joe, people were charged with seditious conspiracy with January 6th sedition.
Okay, so therefore now you're switching. So
I'm using your logic against you.
No. So now you're basically admitting It's not insurrection, but it was sedition.
I'm not admitting that. I'm using your logic.
Why are you trying to
answer the question, Joe? Joe, answer the question. I know. You're gonna do anything to avoid it.
I will not answer a question.
I know you won't.
I'm not going to hold.
I know you won't. It was both sedition and it was insurrection. I don't accept your framing.
Wait, if you just say I have to hold the answer, that you can break.
Yo, both of you, stop fucking talking over each other. Holy shit.
Karantos, make him answer. Make him answer.
You invited lawyers. This is what happens.
If you have a question for me, I'll answer first. In fact, my response is I do not base my designation of this as an insurrection or sedition based on the particular charges under Title 18 that are being brought by the DOJ. However, your logic was, well, if they're not bringing insurrection charges, it can't be an insurrection. So I put that back at you and said, so you would agree January 6th was the sedition, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay, let him answer.
The reason that's an inaccurate framing by you is because you know they can make up and charge him with anything if they wanted to, and they could probably, if you're in the right jurisdiction, they could probably get a conviction against anything. I'll tell you right now, when we were assessing, I don't want to branch into this right now. When we were assessing the federal charges against Trump, I told you what did I clearly express to you? I said the one he's probably most likely committed out of all the 91 charges was what happened in Florida, that he probably committed obstruction under technical reading.
Let's talk about what we're here to talk about.
And yet, the reason I'm bringing this up is this. I said, and yet I told you, I think that's where he's safest, because in that jurisdiction, they will never get a conviction against him. Because when you talk about what's a conviction, you have to look at the jury pool there and whether or not there's any chance that they're actually going to they'll be successful in getting conviction.
Good
or
logic.
there's any chance of acquittal. When
It's very simple. It's very simple.
Washington, D.C., and I'm talking to you about Washington, D.C., and you talk to me about what charges you can raise, and I'm saying even in that completely friendly jurisdiction, I'm answering your question, in that completely friendly jurisdiction, they still didn't bother charging because they knew that that wouldn't stand scrutiny under analysis under the law, that they basically said, to hell with that, we're going to try and see if maybe we can get sedition to stick on them, and maybe they got it to stick. I don't know.
Are DOJ charges instructive or not in terms of defining what this is? Are they instructive or not?
Only to the extent they show us
that it helps you. Only to the extent that it helps you. So when they don't charge insurrection, that's when you cite it.
And of course, that's logical considering who the DOJ is.
Okay, so then why are you appealing to the DOJ? Why are you?
If I make a statement against my own interest, that is admissible in court. If I make a statement against you, that's not admissible in court.
Okay, so your position is.
Let me finish my point, because you don't guess my position when I can just tell it to you.
Okay.
My position is this, that the charges that are made by the district attorney of DC are a statement about their position on things, which their position is necessarily going to be hostile to Donald Trump. So when they charge him with something, that means that's what they're hopeful that they can get him on. But it's an admission against their own interest. It's a tacit admission against their own interest that they recognize there's no insurrection when they don't even bother making the claim. So yes, you're trying to frame it as if I'm talking like some lawyer speak here, when I'm simply analyzing logically rather than trying to sit here and come up with how can I try to attack and win an argument. I'm just trying to analyze logically.
It's desperate. What you're saying is
attorney, and that they're necessarily hostile to these J6 defendants and to Trump, that if they don't bother charging it, that means they know they don't have it. And if they do charge it, that doesn't mean it's accurate, or that even if they get a conviction, that in that environment, based on everything else I said about my position.
Can we get a definition for? You're making it sound like it doesn't matter whatsoever in determining if it's an insurrection or not. If they did charge him with insurrection, you'd say, fuck it, it's bullshit anyway. If they didn't, then you'd be like, well, that proves it isn't an insurrection.
100%.
I understand you're a simple man, so I'll try to explain this to you one more time.
Oh, a simple man.
What
law school did you go to? University of Phoenix?
There's such a thing as admission against your own interest. Do you understand the concept that if you admit something to me about that's negative to your interest, that's far more powerful than if you make a claim against me? When the district attorney fails to raise charges against any of these J6 defendants, that is an admission against their interest.
You admitted the game like long ago. You made a situation where if they charge him with insurrection, you'd be like, well, that's the DC court. They're biased. They're going after Trump. They're going after the rest of these guys. If they don't charge him with insurrection, then it's, well, that shows that they don't have it. There was no insurrection.
No,
they haven't charged. When it could be because it's easy to get them on the other.
It's way simpler than this. It's way simpler than this. Let me.
I'm consistent because I admit that if in fact Donald Trump is acquitted in Florida, that's not a sign that he's not guilty. My point is that we cannot ignore the partisanship in any of these localities, whether it's anti-Trump in Washington.
But then the charges
No,
don't matter.
hold on. Let me
Good question.
Let me
Just
please.
good logic to flesh that out. Real quick, a really quick question to flesh that out. So then you admit then also that if the DOJ wasn't willing to charge Hillary Clinton or Hunter Biden or any of these other people, that they also must not have had any case, so they weren't willing to charge it, even when it was under Trump's administration?
You're starting with the
Because
presupposition.
it's a left-wing court.
Wait, no, wait. I want to hear an answer to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Only if you start with the presupposition that the DOJ was hostile to Hillary Clinton. Which it
Which
could
they're
be.
not.
Which it could be.
They did this burdensome
hold
investigation.
on. No, hold on.
They-
Bisco, stop.
they-
Bisco, stop. I'm literally gonna back you up here, which I fucking hate doing. Okay, but this is why you bring a libertarian on, because I will at some point in time shit on all of you. And the thing is that like it only takes one case for them to lose, where they charge someone with insurrection because the defense had a good enough case to prove that like it was too vague or that this wasn't appropriate, et cetera, et cetera. They only need to lose one case where they charge insurrection, and then every right winger from across the fucking country would be like, see, they couldn't prove insurrection, so how dare you use that fucking term? As much as I think that this DOJ is obviously extremely fucking biased against Trump. But why? Because he's a fucking populist. And they did the same fucking elites that went after Donald Trump are the same fucking people that went after Bernie Sanders. When people start fucking getting together and start saying that like that the poor fucking matter, that the downtrodden fucking matter, that the masses are better than the fucking elite, they crush these people. And sometimes you have, when these people play politics, they're fucking thinking ahead. It's silly to say that it is an actual argument in that regard, because if they fuck that up.
Two other quick legal questions, because I asked this earlier about like, is insurrection a crime? Okay, so we have the 18 USC 2383. Okay, but they use insurrection in the crime of like whoever does an insurrection is somebody engaging in an insurrection. Has anybody ever been charged under USC 2383 ever?
I think so.
Also, don't you largely charge what you can prove?
Yeah, but also the question would be like, if nobody's ever been charged, to reiterate another question, if they were charged, isn't one of the things that conservatives constantly is, oh my God, these are novel criminal charges?
100%, yeah, and wouldn't that be terrifying, because we would be admitting how fucked up it was that somebody tried to seize government. This is like
also be grounds
like
to go
Wile
to the
Coyote.
Supreme Court,
This
which
is like Wile Coyote.
conservative.
I haven't talked to 20 fucking that shit. Oh my God. Okay, this is like Wile Coyote walking out over the fucking ledge and looking down. We don't want to admit how bad fucking January 6th was, because it would admit that some fucking dickhead tried to fuck up our republic after 200 years of fucking existence. And what was it, like 165 fucking years since the Civil War or some shit? We would have to admit that somebody tried to take power for themselves and didn't give a fuck about the republic. We don't want to admit that a fucking $20 trillion Trump, a $20 trillion fucking GDP was almost hijacked by a fucking buffoon with a fucking tan who likes to fuck whores. We didn't want to admit that shit to ourselves.
No, but he thought he was saving the republic, so it's actually all right. You know?
Well, no. Fuck that. Because, hey, fuck that. There were people around Trump. There are people who were at January 6th who thought they were saving the republic. As a matter of fact, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the people who participated in January 6th did believe they were saving the republic. I think that fucking Trump, though, if he didn't know, then he's self-deluding, which is even scarier, because he had high up, intelligent, legal professionals over and over and over again saying that your case is based on bullshit. Every single time that we looked into it, it's based on smoke and fucking mirrors. You don't have anything. You have a fistful of fucking nothing. Okay? And he went for it anyways.
I want to bring something to the attention of Fabian real quick. I just want to just real quick. I just want to bring something to the attention of Fabian. So I found it, and there is a contemporaneous in 1859 book published in Western counties of Pennsylvania by Townsend Ward called "The Insurrection of the Year 1794," where and another one by H.M. Brackenridge, "The History of the Western Insurrection in Western Pennsylvania," commonly called a whiskey insurrection. These are contemporaneous in the 19th century, at the time of the framing of Section 3, where they're referring to the Whiskey Rebellion both as the whiskey insurrection and calling it an insurrection. So there's the evidence.
I mean, so that's not the evidence I asked for, but I mean, it's fine. I was just curious if you had the evidence. The evidence that I was asking for was when you stated that this was the desire of the of the
Didn't
framers.
Didn't you ask that for contemporaneous evidence that they would?
Look, I was just
wasn't
say
asking that the word
Oh my God,
that someone
radical
said
voting.
that.
Let him go.
I was going to say one
Yeah,
thing. I'm going
go.
to speak up finally. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, go, please.
As Good Logic put it, a simple man. And it just seems like on his face, like looking at the situation, looking at like I don't know the legal, like all the legal banter about whether or not it counts as insurrection, whether or not we need people charged as an insurrection, like all this stuff. Like I don't know. I don't know if I care about any of that. It just seems like pretty obvious that like a lot of people there thought that they were overturning the results of an election, whether or not they agreed it was free and fair. It seems like they were specifically trying to do that. It seems like they were specifically egged on to do that by Donald Trump, who was lying about like that he won the election. It just seems like all of those things alone, like paint, like to me, just a normie dude, like it seems pretty obvious that like if insurrection fucking means anything, like that's at least an attempted one. In like I don't
Radical.
know. That's
Radical. So this is a very quick question, very easy question, right? Thought experiment, right? Let's assume for the thought experiment, not in reality, let's assume that the same situation occurred, but all of the evidence was massively in favor that Joe Biden or some other president, right, had stolen the election, right? And like every single piece of evidence was in Donald Trump's favor, but they were still going to certify that election. I would say the stronger argument about the idea of insurrection, right, is the concept which was brought up by Good Logic, which I think was a much better argument that he had for it, which is that if the concept of insurrection is that you're supposed to be overturning the results of the election, as you put it, right? Well, if it is, if in the thought experiment, it is 100% a stolen election in the thought experiment, right? Not in reality, air quotes, right?
It's a good example.
They're only marching for the appropriate legal processes to occur to make sure that the election isn't stolen. Does it then become insurrection?
It's a justified insurrection. It's just like the American Revolution. It's a justified insurrection. It's a morally justified insurrection. But just like the American Revolution was justified, it would still be an insurrection. Like
so when a Republican, so when a Democrat gets up in 2016 and says we shouldn't certify those votes, by your definition,
oh my God,
I'll tell you why. Because
insurrection requires
statement alone is not an insurrection. No,
he specifically said that if they think that if they're working within legal means to try to stop the transfer of power,
that's they're not stopping a law.
Insurrection requires force or threat of force. That is not met in your example. So no, it wouldn't be seditious.
Sedition is also by force.
But if the people on January 6th, if the people on January 6th genuinely believe that the election was stolen, and they genuinely believe, and there is some legal argument, right? I know that you would say that there isn't one, but obviously at the time there was some.
But the problem is you're arguing for the left now. We agree, but like whether you think it was justified or not, you're saying that basically
no.
But it was a justified insurrection. That's still an insurrection.
No. I'm not talking about justified. What I'm saying is if the definition of insurrection requires that you're trying to stop a law from occurring, right? You're trying to stop something from occurring, as opposed to a rebellion, which is to overthrow the government, right? If you're trying to, and the Whiskey Rebellions fits this as well, right? Because you're trying to stop attacks, you're trying to stop people from
stop enforcement, yeah.
Right, stop enforcement of a specific law. If you're there and you believe that you're trying to have your quote voices peacefully heard, or you're part of the group that's fucking violently doing this. If your entire purpose is to get them to force them to follow the law, not break the law, but force them, in your opinion, to follow the law, which is to stop the certification because Texas v. Pennsylvania, for example, was shot down and all because of all of these other issues, right? And you believe that is what's going on. I don't know that it necessarily fits the definition of insurrection because you're not trying to overturn a law. You're trying to stop a law from being violent.
It's not even an argument. We shouldn't even waste time on this. It's vigilantism. What you're talking about. That's it, right? If you think, for instance, that
no, that's not vigilantism.
No.
That'd be taking the law in your own hands.
If you think that somebody should have been executed, they murdered somebody, you witnessed it, the courts failed to convict them, and you want to go and make sure that they're held to account for justice because you think that's real justice because the courts failed to deliver that justice, you're going to go kill that person, and that's really just you're just delivering what the court should deliver. That's vigilantism.
That's not what I said. So no. To make this analogous,
pressure
it would
public
be
officials
to make this analogous. It would be more like all of the evidence shows that person A murdered person B, and there's a trial going on, and the media and everyone in power is talking about nah, they're probably going to let this guy walk. They're going to let this guy walk.
Epstein.
And let's say it's a serial killer or it's Epstein, for example. And then a bunch of people go to the courthouse and say, we all know, all of the evidence shows it. Do your fucking job and make sure you convict Epstein or make sure you convict this murderer.
That's
right?
protest.
That
That's
is
fine.
the more analogy.
That's fine.
And then 2% of the people try to
case.
break into the courthouse and kill judges.
Yeah, they're trying to lynch. That's a lynching. That's an
attempted
attempted lynching, and we don't allow that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the pro-insurrection. I'm just trying to be fair to the arguments
No,
as opposed to bad faith.
If there's like an unjust law, then yeah, that's the idea. That's like the American tradition. You break
It's
an
not
unjust
about
law.
an unjust law. It's not about an unjust law. It's about whether or
about
not someone
enforcing the
thinks
law
their
as it should be.
their protest is trying
Subjective
to
beliefs.
enforce
No,
the law.
it's not about subjective beliefs. Everyone thinks that they're justified or legal. Like everyone will come up with an argument for why what they're doing is actually allowed and legal, and it's a citizen's arrest, and it's this or that. Everyone has those. So the definition of insurrection has never depended on one's subjective beliefs about the propriety, legality, formalities of what the action they're doing. As I said before, and there's no response to this. The Civil War insurrectionists thought what they were doing was legal. They thought what they were doing was a defense of their country.
You're not arguing against what I said.
Fabian, I want to come
You're arguing against.
Why do you pretend there's no response when I gave you a response? I gave you a response. It was like they were.
Wait, what is the response? Let him say it again. What is the response? Restate the response.
They were clearly engaging in what was obviously illegal activity when they fired on Fort Sumter.
They did not think so. They had legal justifications for it.
Well, you keep coming back to that word justification, meaning they're doing something that
you keep moving it into more.
No. Their subjective belief at the time they're doing it is that what they're doing is legal and justified.
You can keep making the same.
You keep trying to push it into another place.
My point is, you're calling it that their justification, and the point that I'm making and that Fabian was making is that this is not a justification that we think that something wrong happened and we're justified in what we're doing.
You don't understand me.
Hold on. Fabian, I want to unkink the stroke that's building in Fabian's brain and come his way a little bit. Okay. So I agree with you that 98% of the people, either through ignorance or whatever, if they believe that they were going to put protest and public pressure on people to follow the law, not break the law, those 98% of people on January 6th did not participate in the insurrection. However, what I'm going to say is that conservatives cope, and they say that the 2% that showed up with body armor, that had zip ties, that talked about hanging people, that broke in past cops with guns, that fucking hit cops in the head with fire extinguishers and flags. It's an availability bias. There's no way it's 2%. No. They pretend that 2% either
you're being muted this whole time.
The fire extinguisher thing never happened. That is such a bold-faced lie. I'm actually embarrassed for you that you brought that up. That is
why? Because I didn't watch. Okay, hold on.
I think it did happen. It just wasn't. Lauren, it was different.
I parasocially.
Yeah, they sprayed the hallway as opposed to
love you,
someone.
but I'm just going to ask you an important question. When I watched an insurrectionist grab a door and intentionally close it on a cop's head and shoulder, or when I watched, hold on, or when I when I watched another series of January 6ers beat someone in the head with metal flagpoles. Is that substantively? Is that substantively? Is that substantively? Is that substantively different? As a matter of fact, I'll ask you as a lawyer, I'll appeal to your expertise. Is that substantively different in charging?
Okay,
the real crux of the argument. No, fuck that. The real crux of the argument.
Hold on. I want a clear answer from Lauren. If somebody got hit in the head, if somebody got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, or if somebody got hit in the head with a metal flagpole, what would you charge that person with? Please answer the question.
You brought up fire extinguisher knowing that it was falsely reported.
By the way, it wasn't falsely reported. Wait. By the way, somebody was attacked with a fire extinguisher on January 6th.
That is incorrect.
There was a
guy got 4 years in prison. He was sentenced last year for it. You're just
but
the guy was attacked with a fire extinguisher.
I don't even care. Let me be charitable.
That's the real crux of the argument, isn't it? Like that's the real crux of the argument is whether or not there were any fucking fire extinguisher attacks.
So even if I'm right,
this is the
I'm
problem.
wrong. Let's pretend I'm wrong.
Robert Stanford. That was the guy who attacked with a fire extinguisher.
Shut the fuck up.
There's two separate incidents.
Let's pretend I'm
two
wrong.
Very separate incidents. You are wrong. Okay,
so
it's easy to pretend that you're wrong because you are.
You don't even. You don't even.
Jokes
know,
on you
don't even
guys.
know what incident I was talking about.
Okay,
Everybody
hold
else
on.
just
Fire
said
extinguisher
somebody
attack.
Attack with a fire
Smooth out,
extinguisher and then
stop,
jumped on in
stop,
to move
stop,
for
stop, 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 stop. Oh my God, we waste so much time on like irrelevant words. Okay, whether or not counterpoint says right or wrong, I think what he's saying is he saw videos of people attacking cops, some with weapons, some with not. We saw that. Continue from there. Okay, whatever
That's
they
not
attack them with.
sustainable.
Keep going.
That's not relevant.
They have a fire extinguisher.
Those cops.
I'll continue from there. I'll continue from there. I'll make this point. The big difference. The big difference.
You're
here-
continuing when we haven't finished.
You know what?
Let me
I'll let
finish.
you-
Connor,
I'll let you. I'll let you finish.
Did
You're
you get to the
edging
bottom of
me.
this fire extinguisher?
Stop
Go ahead,
edging me,
Noonan.
Lauren.
If
If somebody hit another human being with a fire extinguisher, or if somebody hit somebody with a metal pole, what would you charge them?
Well, it depends if they saw it happening or not. If they saw it happening, then I would charge them with assault. And then if it actually was success on contact, then I'd probably charge them with battery. If they didn't see it happening,
then-
I would just charge them with battery.
Okay, so if a fire, so then let's say that the fire extinguisher or the metal pole, because both of these items can reasonably cause serious injury, what would you charge them with if they cause serious injury?
in theory,
I
it could
mean,
be
it
attempted murder.
depends. You could. It depends. There's
Depending
plenty
on
of things that you could charge
jurisdiction,
them
but we
with.
would
You could
probably charge them with
attempted
aggravated battery,
This is
right?
this is
You could
irrelevant.
aggravated
Jurisdiction. Depending on jurisdiction, depending on jurisdiction. Okay,
I'd probably,
I
like,
would
maybe
say.
attempted homicide or like maybe
Okay.
or manslaughter.
Where are you
or
going with
attempted
this?
My
manslaughter,
point.
but-
This is my point. I am getting to my point, and then I'll shut the fuck up for 10 minutes so you guys can talk. A metal pole and a fire extinguisher are both capable of causing the same injury. I don't give a flying fuck if some of the J6ers used a metal pole instead of a fire extinguisher. My point still stands.
This isn't
I'm
a
going-
side.
I'll
No,
follow
let me
up
clear
with
this
what
up very
Can I
quick.
just say something
Let me clear
really
this up very quick.
The reason that is purposely
you-
deceptive, though, is because the fire extinguisher was used to talk about specifically for the murder of Brian Sicknick. That did
You're
not
presuming.
happen,
You're
and no
presuming
January 6er
malintent.
Murdered. Hold on. No January 6er murdered a Capitol officer, and so for you to elicit that specific event, knowing that it's
No,
false,
he
is
didn't.
purposely.
He just said
It's
somebody was attacked with a fire extinguisher, and someone was. You don't know what
You-
Hold on.
you're
No,
talking
let me
about.
let me
You
clear
and
this up.
Pisco-
Let
hold
me
on.
clear this up. You said you were going to shut up. You literally
and
said you were going to
Pisco-
stop for 10 minutes.
You and Pisco, you and
What did
Pisco
I do?
have presumed that I lie. I haven't fucking lied in the past 4 years of
Not
being
me.
a part of Twitch politics. Don't presume I'm lying. Presume I'm stupid or misinformed. Thank you.
I take back when I
No,
called you. a
so
liar.
hold on. So hold on. Listen,
I
very
feel like I
quickly.
just got to hear
The
the,
problem-
right-wing
pro-
equivalent of 40 beheaded babies. but
Okay, hold on. Stop. So the problem here is what you were doing is you're not equivocating, sorry. What you were doing is you were introducing that a certain portion of people, you say 2%, the percentage isn't necessarily, it could be 1%, it could be 5%, right? Are violent, right? And then what you're saying is that since that group was violent, this is insurrection. The problem with that is that the violence isn't the key factor that I was discussing. The key factor that I was discussing is, are they there on January 6th, right? Do they have mens rea, right? Not actus reus of doing all the bad things, right?
But that's required.
thought-
But that is
right,
required, though.
Right. Do they have the
I'm
thought
listening.
that the reason they're committing this violence is to go in and stop these people from doing something legal? And so the fact that there is violence, right? Plenty of these people that were violent could have been. There was a very when you look at the first.
Okay, Fabi, way to
breach-
agree on this? Fabi,
No. Let me
we all
fucking
agree.
finish this.
Violence is
No,
not
no,
enough. We agree. We need
dude,
intent.
You
Violence is not
every
enough. We
time
need
I
intent.
start to make a fucking point, you
Because
interrupt me
you
and
don't
get
make
mad.
the point. You're gonna ramble for 5 minutes just to say that. Oh, just
No,
violence. It
dude,
doesn't mean
Pisco has
Okay.
rambled like this whole goddamn
That's
time.
what
Let
it's
me
like.
fucking
All right,
finish.
fine,
Fabian's
no,
When
let's
you
see if he
look-
says something different. Let's see if he says something different.
I'm very big, very quick. Look, when you look at the initial breaches, when you look at how these things occurred, and then when you look at individuals that were stuck there, and the police were supposed to use LRADs and things of that nature to tell them to leave and give them egress to leave.
You're not
and
going to
instead
blame
they
the
start
cops here.
gassing them.
You're
and
not going
instead
to badmouth these cops.
I don't give a
defending our
fuck.
democracy.
I don't give a fuck about cops.
you're not
Hey,
gonna
cat,
badmouth
bitch.
them.
I'm a cop
Get the
and I
fuck
don't
off.
give a fuck.
Listen. I'm
I
almost
let
fucking done. Just stop
finish.
interrupting me. Just stop interrupting me. And let me listen. The fact that the situation turned violent, there are many ways that you can describe why the situation turned violent, but that does not pertain necessarily to whether or not the intent applies for them to overturn a legal proceeding, or whether or not
Destiny Summary was completely correct.
Force them to do something correct.
Destiny Summary was completely correct. You just rambled on and did the same exact thing.
He does it every fucking time.
100%. And you're not going to blame or do a little, in a cute way, the cops for the violence inflicted upon them. Okay, the cops are not responsible. The insurrectionists are.
Yes, they are.
We're not.
The fuck are you talking about? When they violated department policy.
Yes, Fabian, please go. Good logic. You were going to say something. Go.
I can put a bow on this. Counterpoints was just pointing out that he's like, perhaps 98% of them are not insurrectionists and 1 or 2% are insurrectionists. And for that, now we're sitting here and we're looking at the entire event and saying, should we label this an insurrection? In that scenario, we have 1 or 2%, let's say, who are arguably committing insurrection and 98% who are not. And I think what seems most logical is to look at how the crowd reacted to those attempts at violence, to see what the overall objective of the crowd was. And what we saw time and again was them being stopped and yelled at, saying, that's not us, that's not what we do, we don't attack
That's
cops.
Antifa.
We saw that over and we saw that over and over and over again, which is a reflection of what the crowd thought, which is we don't want to be committing crimes here. We want to do this lawfully. So that's why the label.
We also saw a 2-hour fight with cops in the fucking tunnel, and we saw like a Proud Boy asking a cop if he could go past, and he called her a fucking dog if she said no.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. Rather than engaging on the point, hold on. Rather than engaging on the point, good luck. That has literally nothing to do with any of this. If they went and they killed every single cop, it still might not have been an insurrection. Maybe they just wanted to kill cops and leave. If they went in and they didn't kill a single cop or attack a single cop, it still could have been insurrection. No part of our definition requires violence against cops. I don't think any part of
no, the
Thank
point
you.
is as far as committing violence. The point is as
What?
far as how they felt about committing violence. And
yes, but no, but it was it's not about just wait,
much more.
It's not about hold on. It's not about violence. It's to what end the violence is to accomplish. And the and
There
we were
still
trying to
needs to
determine
be
that.
violence for insurrection.
Pisco fall back
Good
on
logic
over and
was
over
arguing.
again. He's like, what did Pisco fall back over and over again when we was talking about insurrection? That it's that there's an element of violence to it.
Or threat of force.
Because we were
He said about
talking-
cops. No. Stephen just specified cops.
He was saying that was necessary but not sufficient, and he's not saying violence against anything. We all agree that
element is missing. As far as when we're assessing the crowd, that element must be missing, even if 1 or 2%.
Violence?
No. Hold on. No. The violence. No.
When it was violence, the crowd was trying to stop them.
Stop. No. When we talk about violence, stop. When we talk about violence, okay, things like breaking an entry is a form of violence. It's violence against the Capitol. With the goal of
Also,
disrupting the
riots
process of the
get
election.
violent.
And become insurrections. Yes, and that's
What was the goal?
Yeah, the goal is that they were trying to delay
was to stop the steal. The goal was to fight for Trump. Listen.
No.
You guys are
Did
like,
you just say
we live
stop
in
the
this
steal?
crazy.
Then you just do you accept his framing?
Fabian. We
Stop
live in
the
this
steal.
crazy world.
Right?
We live
Stop
in this
the bad
crazy
thing.
world. Hang on a second.
Stop
I
the illegal
never
thing.
have been part of the diluted opinion of good logic that a subjective belief about the lawfulness or propriety of what's going on somehow is an excuse. Whatever your framework is bullshit.
Guys, stop talking.
Motive doesn't matter in crime.
Yo, let me finish. So
I don't have to have you restate what my opinion is for the purpose.
okay, but not anyone who would say that, not good logic specifically, has a much smarter way to approach it. Okay, so it's not about the we know what these people wanted, right? These people were fighting for Trump. These people were trying to stop the steal. That is, in their opinion, stop the certification of votes. Whether they thought it was justified or not, you guys are sitting here talking about Joe Biden's intent from calling his son. And we know it was to facilitate these deals and to corrupt the country. But when people are literally admitting on live television what they want to do, you will not accept it at face value that was their specific intent.
And I want to add to this, the 95% or the 98%, whatever number that we want to lie on, they are basing their actions on a false belief that is intentionally planted by the sowers of the violence. So the
Don't talk about Ray Epstein.
They know that they're full of shit, and yet they're choosing to actively say it. Logic, please challenge me on this. Tell me that Trump didn't know or should have known that he was going to lose these appeals if it got kicked back to the states. Please tell me that. I would love to hear it.
Which appeals? What does that mean?
Okay, he wanted to send the electors back to the fucking states as like false electors.
Before we even get to the electors plot, I'm just so curious. Okay, 'cause this would never stand in any left-leaning march. Okay, if they were marching saying kill white people or genocide white people or transgender, blah blah blah, we would all know what they mean. There would be no guessing. Okay, I'm so curious.
Bullshit.
I'm
Get
so
the
curious.
no, fuck
Stop.
that. Not on
Please stop.
10-7 from the river to the
I'm
sea
so-
and all that shit. Lefties are a bunch of fucking F slurs.
Yeah, and that's
Jerk
what
off,
people are
jerk
accusing
off.
them of being pro-genocide. That's what they're. What do you think all the Jewish people and all the other people on the other side are accusing them of doing?
Okay,
They're saying these are
what happens-
like slogans,
Case in
right?
point.
Jesse,
But-
real quick,
Yeah,
but what
are you
happens?
saying that the
But I'm-
left is
what-
better at policing?
But what
are we
happens?
saying?
I'm
No,
not. I
but
didn't
what
say
happens
that.
when the
Shut
left
up.
does that?
No, stop. I'm
I
saying
won't
that.
understand.
I'm saying that politically, if this was another group of people, okay, if it was a group of black people marching, making a chant like this, right? Go home or go
F
back
the
to
whitey.
Europe or whatever. F the whitey. Which is like, okay, we obviously know what their intent is, right? So I'm curious when you have a crowd full of people and they're chanting
feel like
things
we've
like
been gaslit about it.
1776, hang Mike Pence, stop the steal, okay?
How did the crowd react?
1776. We all agree that 1776.
How did the crowd react?
They
fought
broke
like
into
hell.
the Capitol.
They
Hold on.
started screaming
They-
Fed.
They broke into the Capitol. Hold on, stop. One person started screaming Fed, baked Alaska, and he literally ran into the building. So that's the worst example ever you could use. Okay, number one.
No.
Number two.
When Ray
you
Epps
say how
did
the
the
crowd-
night before,
you say
when Ray
how
Epps
the
said you
crowd-
had to go into the
not
Capitol,
talking about
That's
the
right.
the whole
night before.
crowd
We're talking
started
about the
screaming
day.
Fed,
Number two,
Fed.
listen,
attacking brave
there
hero
were not
Ray Epps.
100,000 people
Fed,
weren't in the
Fed.
Capitol because of Ray Epps. Not a single person cited Ray Epps as the reason they went into the building. Okay, so the question is when the people were chanting,
That's not what I
1776,
said.
when they were chanting, hang Mike Pence.
Who did they say
when
they were there for?
Saying stop the steal. What is the goal of this? What is the goal of that?
To stop the political process.
What is the goal?
100%.
I
Anyone who
can't-
denies
The
that.
certification of the
I want an
election.
answer. I want an answer. What is the goal?
The goal is to encourage Mike Pence to show his spine.
And
To show
and
his
perform a
spine
coup.
Hey,
And
hey,
to coup the
Cancel the
government.
election.
To coup the
Look at your
government.
characterization. You said to show a
Not
spine.
the election. And I'll tell you something.
Show a
You
spine,
asked me what
dude.
my source is for Mike Pence
Disgusting.
to do what to do.
No, wait. No one cares. Wait, don't do this thing. When you said
I
Mike
wouldn't.
Pence show a spine, what do you mean Mike Pence show a spine? To do what?
For him to recognize the alternate slate of electors and send it back to the states.
The fake
For him
fraudulent
to
electors.
overturn, for him to
To do
overturn the
insurrection.
election, right?
Sorry, what was there were
For him to-
two people talking?
It was for him to overturn the election, right?
Well, it's not overturn the
No,
election because
that's
you're
not
gonna be
overturn.
sending
It's
it to the
just send
states.
certification back.
Send it to the,
Send it to
you,
the states.
that's
Pursuant
bullshit. You
to
don't even
the
know.
Constitution.
You don't even know
Pursuant to
the
the Constitution.
corrupt legal theories that were being promoted in your honor, since you're, I guess, you're MAGA, or I guess you support what Pence was sort of encouraged to do, which is show a spine. They weren't going to send it back to the states. They were going to
Actually,
send it to the
I'm
House
sorry, Pisco,
delegation.
I appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate that. That's true. Actually, but let's
That's what I
say
meant
we
by
forget all
this.
that.
That's what I
Wait,
meant.
let's
That's what I meant.
say we forget all that.
That's
Let's say we
what
forget all that.
sending
Okay,
back
they
to the
wanted him
states.
to send it back. Okay, but he decided
The
not
House
to.
delegations, which is
Yes.
the states.
Yes. Well,
No,
the
it's not.
Republican.
It's
not-
federal
wait.
representatives in
It's-
Congress.
yes.
There's no input from the state governments.
Yes,
That's
but also
that's- oh my gosh, what a ridiculous! Why do you have to false frame everything I say when you're trying to twist what I'm saying? When I say send it back to the states, that's
I
what it
assume it's
means.
the
in
states.
constitutional-
And not the members of
in a
federal
con-
Congress.
Well, I'll
States
tell you
mean a
something.
certain thing, you know?
Yeah, well, you seem to be really confused for someone who's an attorney because when we talk
You
about
seem
representatives
confused,
in
'cause
Congress,
states are different
when we
than
talk about
members of
representatives in Congress, that's called the states.
When I talk about states, I'm
representatives.
talking about state government and the states, not the representatives of Congress.
Well, maybe that's why you shouldn't stop trying to put words in my mouth because clearly you struggle. to
I'm using the
comprehend
words
that.
Okay,
as
wait,
normal
also,
people
wait,
use them.
hold on. Wait, I'm so sorry. Hold on. When we talk about send them back to the states, we're talking about voting. Nobody is talking about Congress. That's
No,
never
not in the
case.
constitutional perspective.
Yeah, so when you say send it back to the states,
We're
Pence
talking
was
about
not-
the 12th Amendment. That's
Sure.
what we're
No,
talking
wait.
about here.
Pence was never sending anything back to the states. He was sending it back to Congress.
For crying out loud. 12th. Have you looked at the 12th Amendment? Do you remember
Yes, we
anything
have.
about what was happening in December and January 2020
Yes, we did.
into early 2021?
We do
Well,
remember, yes.
clearly then you seem to have forgotten that
No.
the whole conversation was that there was more states that had a plurality of red seats, and there was an expectation that if neither Biden nor Trump were able to get 270, that it would be sent back to the states, meaning the House of Representatives, the delegates from the House. That's what, and they called it every single time, send it back to the states. That's
They had
the
Plan
reference.
B, they had
That's
Plan
what's
C, they had
confused.
Plan D, but the main plan
stop trying
was
to
Let
subvert,
them
like,
go.
this
Let them
silly.
go. They're the contestants. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Pisco.
This
the
is
main
just
plan-
subversion and stupidity.
The main plan was to get Vice President Pence just to declare victory. Number one, that's not sending back to the states. The second, Plan B was if someone if someone complained, they would just send it to the House of Representatives. Because guess what? The Constitution doesn't specify the states decide. The states already decided. The states
And
have
actually,
sent
and
their
even
electors.
on that, because
Right,
we don't
why
have
are
much time left. Wait,
you
real
confused
quick, real quick, because we're talking about the intentionality of the crowd, and we don't have too much time left. But I just want to hone in on this, okay? So let's say that I'm agreeing with everything you're saying so far, okay? They were trying to get Mike Pence to stand up. Maybe they even thought it was legal. Maybe do some script that's legal. Maybe we grant all of that, okay? When Pence failed, Donald Trump tweeted that Pence failed, okay? Pence didn't stand up for us. Why didn't the crowd go home then? What did they continue to protest for?
Well, in the Capitol, I'm sure they were unable to get cell service.
Which
there.
which text are you talking about?
Everybody knew. Hold on,
I don't know.
stop.
Bullhorn.
So when the crowd continued to protest,
everyone inside the Capitol heard what's going on in the bullhorn, right? That's what's obviously.
People can pass the message around. It's quite easy to
yes, they were literally live streaming. They didn't have a reception, okay? The crowd continued to protest. The crowd continued to protest. What was the goal after Pence failed?
What was the first tweet?
What do we think?
138. The first tweet at 138, which was he ended his speech at 112.
None of these tweets are going to save you. None of these are going to save you.
Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. That was the very first thing.
Please gamble responsibly after we just bombarded you with advertisements.
Reports. Yes. He'd already gotten reports of violence there.
And he didn't ask them to come back and to stop violence. He said, "Stay peaceful." The implication being that you already were.
The riot wasn't officially declared until 1:49.
I'm sorry. Okay, this is my last thing, and then you guys could.
This is 11 minutes before a
riot wasn't declared. Doesn't mean there wasn't already violence. Fucking hell, man. There was already violence. It wasn't declared officially.
Yeah, but you're
the easiest causal chain of events ever.
You're looking back. You're looking back as if. With like you're looking back as what you see now after tons and tons of videos, investigations, etc. Within
the
20
whole world watched this. It was all live streamed. Donald Trump is on Twitter. We're all watching it on national TV, bro. This was
within
not
22 minutes of his speech ending.
You're not going to gaslight us.
I'm not gaslighting you to literally quote him
You're
22 minutes and say
cover of darkness, like nobody had any idea what was going on.
That's not what I'm pretending. You're fucking lying.
Very clearly.
I'm not pretending it's happening under cover of darkness. What I'm saying is that it's chaotic and that nobody really knows all of what we know now. Nobody knows the scope of what's going on. So the first thing he says is to stay peaceful.
Do something. Get on the phone.
Everyone.
Trump should have gone on the phone and said, "Hey, can I help out? I know our thing's under attack. Can you do something?" He had a duty. He had a duty to defend the Capitol, and he failed us. And he fucked us over when he was responsible for the defense of our nation. And he did not do what he was supposed to do.
Quit this blustering. If he would have sent in National Guard, you'd have been calling him a fucking fascist.
You're not getting away with this like what we didn't know at the time. Like between 2 and 3 p.m., people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Ingraham,
138,
fucking Trump.
This was 138.
They were all saying
he has to come out and say something strong.
Fucking Ivanka. They were all saying Trump is not doing enough to call this off. He should be able to give a forceful statement, and he didn't.
And while he was not doing that, we had
even 4 o'clock. He put out a video.
Enough.
We had Mike Pence, thankfully, actually showing that he does have a backbone, that he does have a spine, and he did protect our country.
Mike Pence, and that day was an American patriot.
This is like, it's just so clear. Like Trump says our election is being stolen. The crowd goes to the Capitol and they riot there. He says that Mike Pence can save us, and then they don't. They say, hang Mike Pence. They're chanting 1776. They break into the Capitol building. They protest and riot, and then they end up delaying the certification of the vote.
And
then finally... No, I'm not selecting
Who's
anything.
they say? You say they say hang Mike Pence. It was not the entire fucking crowd going hang Mike Pence. Hang Mike Pence.
The guillotine. It had to play guillotine outside.
You mean like at every fucking protest ever? You act like you've never been to a protest.
At the very end.
Every fucking time Obama, every Obama protest, there were guillotines and there was fucking little miniature figures of him. Right? But nobody fucking went into the Capitol.
At the very end, they managed to delay the vote. Which was, it seemed like the goal the entire time. So they had a goal from start to finish. They literally effected the goal at the end. How can we look at that whole event from start to finish and go, well, it all just evolved organically and happened by accident, even though that was Donald Trump's plan from the very beginning?
His goal from the very beginning was to have a fucking a shit show of a fucking insurrection, if you will.
That was the goal. Yes.
His goal was a coup. Nobody showed up armed. What the fuck are you talking about?
Times a flat circle. No, that's a lie, Lauren. That's a lie.
We don't know if it's Pelosi. We just know it's Irving.
Pelosi said it didn't happen.
Source it. No.
We don't know that. Stephen's son.
You can put Pelosi over Trump. But then again, even if it's not Pelosi, how about Miriam Bowser? Miriam Bowser.
All right, let's take a line. Okay, Lauren, let's this is real easy. This will be a real exchange. Can you name the only request of the National Guard before January 6th? Who made the only request of the DoD?
Bowser.
Bowser was the only one who actually requested.
No,
for traffic.
Bowser does not have
guards and then turned them away.
Wrong. False.
3 days before
False.
he turned them away, and then during the attack, she was offered again, and then she was given that.
Lauren, false. On December 31st, that was the first. I read the entire DOD report.
Okay,
You haven't.
I don't care. Read it again. You're wrong.
Wait. Have you read the DOD report on the causality?
Just make the point. Don't ask if she read anything. Just make the point.
So Lauren, you haven't read it, and the true chronology here.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You don't know shit about the situation, and you're lying to the entire world.
Pisco, just cite your argument. Don't say just lie, just cite it. Say what you're saying.
The only RFA made to the DOD was made by Mayor Bowser on December 31st. The DOD was considering denying that RFA, and it was for 300 or 400 troops, exactly. Mayor Bowser has exactly 0 operational control of the DOD. She can't deny the DOD presence. She has to actively request it, and she did actively request it. And so you framing it as though there were an offer of troops. There was no offer of troops, and you're lying when you say that there was.
You don't know that there was no offer.
Okay, stop, Lauren.
Anyway.
Okay, stop. Thank you for the last take, Pisco. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of Kick or Keep. Soon there will be a poll in chat to select the winner because, listen, we didn't eliminate anybody, but there will be a winner for episode 24 of Kick or Keep. And that winner gets to walk away with 500. So again, listen, your efforts will be rewarded, or at least one of you. Also, apparently, listen, Good Logic has 2 minutes to live. I don't know how to interpret that fucking message. So I don't know. Listen, I'm wishing you all the best. But listen, stick around because you might be the winner.
I wanted to thank you. In this crowd, there's no one on the right who's ever going to be a winner, but that's okay. I still had a great time. I really enjoyed your company. Even those of you who are arguing with me, I want to apologize to Dylan because I was a little rude to him when I referred to him as a simple man. I apologize to you for that. I shouldn't have done that. I did want to have. I had a response, and I had a response that I wanted. Man. And a beautiful simple man. and Radical, I actually, you said something earlier that I wanted to respond to. I don't remember what it was, but I want you all to know I appreciate having these debates to the extent that they're made in good faith. I think 7 out of 8 of us here are having a good faith debate. Not going to name any names, that might rhyme with Lisco or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm just playing around. I really had a great time, and I want to thank you. I look forward to being on more panels like this in the future, irrespective of whether I finish in first or last. That's not what it's about. It's about having a good time and sharing thoughts and exchanging ideas. And I appreciate you guys giving me the courtesy of your time and your attention. So, salute, and I thank you so very much.
Nice meeting you.
Godspeed.
Lil Steve, tell us how's the poll looking? Tell us how's the poll looking? Is it super close like the 23 other episodes?
No, it's not close.
Yeah, we have the rigged fan favorites are dominating the poll right now.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. We've discussed how this is
always
an
insurrection
when it comes to these type of votes. Like, if you want, me and you could choose the winner between me and you. You know what I mean? We could do that if you want. We could.
You can't
there's never a way to do these
halfway through. That's like a total Democrat thing to do. That's why the conservatives.
Didn't we just have like a 3-hour debate about a guy trying to change the vote halfway through?
I mean,
stop the staple and give me the rightful title.
I think Dylan Burns will agree with me that there's really no right way to do it. Like, no matter what you do, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, the only way that you could really do it
what makes you
is if you did a vote. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could do a vote in the beginning and then a vote at the end, and even that'll be rigged. But it'll just come down to a clout contest for most things. And then if you have a panel of judges, everyone will always attack you for being biased, no matter what you do.
Honestly, no, Fabian, you're
Demon Mama and
Creationist
Cat.
You deserve the W in my end. You know what I mean? Because you 1v10, 1v9, 1v all. Even the host was coming at you. This host, disgustingly biased. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Liz Steve. It was disgustingly
I'm a
biased.
libertarian. I go against everybody all the time. You're all fucking socialists to me.
I think the voting is pretty reflective of who did the best, isn't it?
No.
Fuck no. Hell no.
I'm not watching the stream. What is it like? Is it fucking Loner Box again?
I'm not on top.
Wait,
I'm not fucking winning.
Here and
I was about to say, is it Loner Box?
However, you didn't like.
Lauren, I'm not winning, dipshit. I'm not winning. I'm not winning.
I mean, you still got second.
State your
I
case.
said the winner is the most reflective. I'm second because people like me. That's it.
Look at Loner
But
Box.
Pisco won because he's
Dude, you
good.
farmed content on this one. Let's be honest.
This is retarded. Okay.
I know you're right. If only we'd gone to the bottom of how many fire extinguisher attacks there were, that would have flipped everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys had a
That's all I
passionate
wanna know.
speech, you might have won. Honestly, if you had a passionate speech towards the end of the show, you know what I mean. You might have swayed the vote to your end. Who knows? But
Yeah, I
should we
started a
call it, or,
passionate
like,
speech,
should
but
we
Destiny
keep it?
had to stop me. You know,
Yeah, I saw that.
can't let a libertarian say anything.
Look,
Fucking
all I
people
care
will
about is
realize that
beating
democratic
counterpoints, that's
socialism
all.
is fucking retarded.
Huh?
What?
What?
Huh?
Listen, I should have won that 9/11.
Quality, not
fucking
quantity,
meme was
Lauren.
banger.
Right. Are we just gonna be
I had like
sitting here
3
talking about
bangers
why
tonight.
each of us should have won? If so, I'm gonna go. So my name's Lauren. Thanks for having me here. Had a great time. I do interviews. I love the law and math. Peace.
My name is Connor. I love Counterpoints I love Counterpoints 40K where I do science fiction bullshit. So go ahead and check that shit out. Also, I should have won because I had like 3 fucking solid banging ass fucking memes. Pisco over here, he called me a fucking liar twice. I think I said fuck you like 18 times. I offered to make out with him. I did a 9/11 fucking analogy with Lauren earlier. I did the fucking fire fucking extinguisher bullshit and I didn't lose my cool. I did good memes. You know, the fact that DGG is voting against me is fucking, it's all bullshit because I hate Hunter Biden. So, you know, fuck you guys.
Based.
W. That's a W. Thank you for coming on, guys.
License your
Listen,
plane.
at this point, clearly, I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. Congratulations, Pisco, for being the winner of episode 24 of Kick or Keep. Guys, don't be
Knew
so
you had it in
Please
ya.
clap. Thank you. You deserve that.
Congratulations.
noise gate.
Fucking
I'm gonna tell you.
asshole.
Hold on,
Okay,
Pisco.
now everybody else, shut yourself out and fucking skedaddle. You know what I mean? Go ahead, please. One at a time. Shot your socials and all that good stuff before you leave the call.
I'll go
Unless you want to
quickly.
stay here or something.
Connor, Counterpoints 40K. Go check it out. Science fiction, political philosophy, all that shit is on there. Counterfires link down in the description for politics shit. Parasocial love to you and yours. I genuinely love this lineup and all of you here. So thank you.
W man's W. Okay. Next person, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Dylan Burns. I'm a war journalist and Twitch streamer. You can find me on Dylan Burns TV on YouTube. That's my main channel. Dylan Burns Live on YouTube. That's where I post my stream content. And I hope everybody keeps an eye out for a documentary I'm going to be releasing hopefully later this month, following artillerymen as they serve near the front. Hope you all have a good one.
Hey, real quick question before you go, Dylan.
Yeah.
Are both demonetized right now currently, or is it just the TV one?
That's the strange thing. My second channel was the channel that makes most of YouTube rev. That's the one that's been demonetized for 4 months for harassment. But my main channel, which is my like passion project for journalism, which actually doesn't make money, that's the one that's still monetized, even though it has war
Which one
footage
is
on
that?
it. My main channel, Dylan Burns TV.
Dylan Burns. Okay, so if you're gonna watch and you don't have the time to watch live streams, make sure you check out that one specifically, you know, and watch some ads or something.
So I can get 5 cents. I appreciate it. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you guys.
for sure.
You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm Scott from Fabian Liberty. I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I discuss mostly philosophy and political debates and stuff. You can find me Fabian Liberty pretty much everywhere. And you know, join the Discord or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I'd love to argue philosophy or talk about that far more than I do politics, actually.
Thanks for coming on, man. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.